we never went out.
No, yeah, but for some time, FIBS was lying a little low because you're not getting too many orders from India. Let's accept that for a fact. But off late, you have started getting orders, and
we never.
so it's good to see that FIBS, which was a major player in this segment, is back in full form.
Yeah, thank you. We just got a big order in India recently.
Yes, I know. I'm aware. So congratulations, anyway,
thank you
for let's say keeping your focus on India, because I always believe the future of steel lies in India, and we'll be the front runners in the days ahead. And I think of late you have been noticing that because of the excellent cash flow that the steel makers in India have been making, and because of the profitability, the margins have gone up. So as a result, a lot of investment is expected to come. An amount of 200,000 crore in Indian rupees is likely to be invested. So the capex is back, and we are expecting a lot of orders to come through in the days to come, at least for a year and a half to go. And as you know, we are adding almost, let's say, 190 million tons of capacity. A lot of consolidation is likely to happen because a lot of, let's say, assets are readily available for disinvestment. For example, we have the Vizag steel plant up for disinvestment, and Neelachal Ispat, Nagarnar Iron and Steel Plant. So all these assets are available, plus the greenfield expansion which is happening, let's say from ArcelorMittal, Nippon Steel. They are going in a big way for expansion. JSW is planning huge expansion. So we are likely to see very good days in the months and years ahead. So that's a very positive note that I can, claim before you, and it's bound to happen. There is no way it can go otherwise. So, Mr. Lala, what is Tata Steel's, I would say, view and philosophy in terms of expansion plans? You are muted, Mr. Lala.
My mute. Am I audible?
Yes. Absolutely. Loud and clear.
So, as you know, we are currently, of course, working on our Kalinganagar expansion. And that's where it is right now. The focus is really on the expansion there, setting up of the downstream facility. We have, sort of turned around the acquisition of Bhushan Steel. And we are producing as per almost close to the rated capacity. So the focus on debottlenecking and sweating the asset, that kind of continues. So that's where it is right now. And I think as you talked about, the Neelachal or Vizag, so the disinvestment, I think all of us are interested in that. So let's see how that pans out. So there will be a mix, I guess, of organic and inorganic growth. That's how steel is panning out in India. The important thing, of course, is what each one of us have set a target of, taking India to 200 million. So obviously there has to be greenfield projects to achieve that. So that's where it is as of now.
Thank you, Mr. Lala. And let me tell you, our Minister of Steel, Minister of State for Steel, Mr. Phaggan Singh Kulaste, is in Jamshedpur today. So he will be visiting Tata Steel facilities today. And I was there, when he was in Calcutta day before yesterday. So I understand he has, in fact, he plans to do a press conference today in Jamshedpur. So I was coordinating with my friends in Tata Steel to ensure that he has a good press conference today in Jamshedpur. So with that, Mr. Malan, a warm welcome to you, and everyone knows you in the industry. So I don't need to introduce further, except the fact that Mr. Malan is the COO and head of operations of all the coating facilities of JSW, right from, say, Kalmeshwar to, the galvanizing facilities and the entire coating facility that exists in JSW. And before this, all of us know that he was heading Electro Steel Steels Limited after Vedanta acquired the same. So he's a known face in the industry. I don't need to introduce him. So a warm welcome once again, Mr. Malhan. And Mr. Mehrotra, also a warm welcome to you. So Ankit, I think without further ado, let's move forward. And Mr. Narayan, I think Mr. Lakshminarayan will also be joining. So you can move forward.
Yeah, so good afternoon, everyone, and a warm welcome to all the panelists and the attendees who have joined us today, and also to everyone watching on our live stream on YouTube. We welcome you all to our 30th webinar titled Technology, Market and Applications for Cold Rolling, Galvanizing and Coated Products, organized by Steel and Metallurgy. A warm welcome to our silver sponsors, JSW Coloron Plus, Danieli, Yogi DG, Maxis Motion, and our steel sponsor, ATS. So I would like to now introduce our panelists for today's discussion. So, so our first panelist for today is Mr. Pankaj Malhan. He is the Head of Operations, JSW Steel Coated Products Limited. Then we have Mr. R.V. Sridhar, Executive Director and CEO, Coated Steel, ArcelorMittal Nippon Steel India. Mr. Anil Delala, Chief of Sales OEM, Tata Steel BSL Limited. Mr. Lakshminarayan Acharya, Managing Director, Maxis Motion Controls Private Limited. Mr. Mithaleshwar Yadav, DGM Danieli India Limited. Mr. Navneet Singh, Managing Director, Yogi GDG. Mr. Bhavesh Babaria, Head Technical Applications, ATS Techno Private Limited. Mr. Rajesh Mehrotra, Managing Director, Berger Becker Coatings Private Limited. Mr. Stephen Marin, Vice President, Marketing and Sales, Fifth Group. And Mr. T. Kumaresan, Vice President and Head M&M BU L&T Construction. So these are our panelists for today. Before we proceed, I would just like to share a few short guidelines for smooth platform management. For all the attendees who have joined us on Zoom to listen to our discussion, we have a Q&A section which can be accessed by all panelists and attendees. So if you go to the bottom of the screen, you will see a Q&A section. And I would request everyone to post your questions and queries there. And it will be visible to us, to all the panelists as well, who can choose to either answer it live or directly in the chat. I would also request all panelists to keep their microphones muted when the other panelists are speaking to avoid any kind of noise feedback. And last but not the least, I would request everyone to adhere to the time limit as given in the program to avoid any delays. So our session moderator for today's discussion will be my father, Mr. Nirmalya Mukherjee, Editor, Steel and Metallurgy. On behalf of Steel and Metallurgy and our sponsors, I would like to welcome you all to our webinar. And we start off with some videos from our sponsors, but before that, I would request you all to please rise for the national anthem.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you. And now we have a few videos from our sponsors, and I would like to play them for you in the order of JSW, followed by Danieli, and then Maxis Motion, who are also our silver sponsors for today's event. So I would request a moment, so just so that I can share the video and you can let me know if it is visible to everyone. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
एक्सक्यूज मी
ऋषभ भैया आप
ऋषभ भैया आप चल एक बढ़िया सी छत दिखाना
बिल्कुल ये देखिए JSW कलर ऑन प्लस छत
कलर ऑन प्लस ही क्यों
सालों बाद आप फॉर्म में रहेंगे
पता नहीं
आपके सर पे बाल रहेंगे
पता नहीं
आप ऐसे ही फिट रहेंगे
पता नहीं यार
और मुझे पता है सालों बाद भी इसका रंग रूप सेम रहेगा
तो फिर घर पे यही लगेगी
ये हुई ना बात
JSW कलर ऑन प्लस छत 10 साल की वारंटी के साथ।
So that was JSW Color on Plus. Our next video is from Danieli. Is it visible full screen?
Yes, please. Yes.
Is there a problem with the video, Ankit?
The video, no, the video is over. It
Okay,
was,
okay.
yeah, it was,
I thought it was abrupt. That's all.
no. So yeah, that,
Yeah,
that was,
now-
the video. And we have one more video from Max's Motion.
Well, thank you, Ankit, and thanks to all our sponsors, right from Mr. Lakshminarayan Acharya, who has been supporting us right from the beginning. Mr. Acharya, thank you so much. Thank you, Navneet Singh ji. Navneet ji, you have also supported us in our past events as well. So a warm thank you to Mr. Navneet Singh, to Danieli, who have been with us for the last almost 22 years. Also to JSW Coloron, whenever I have asked for any support from Mr. Jayant Acharya, he's been so kind to never tell me no. So my special thanks from the bottom of my heart to JSW, Dr. Nawal, Mr. Jayant Acharya, Mr. Malan, and the entire JSW collective for all that they have done. It's my special privilege to thank JSW for their support. So with that, I'll move on to our first speaker of the day, and we start from none other than JSW, Mr. Pankaj Manhal, who's the COO and head of operations of the entire JSW coated products portfolio. Over to you, Mr. Malhan. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mukherjee. A very warm good afternoon to my fellow panelists and the attendees. I think it's an interesting subject where we are all together to discuss on markets, applications and demand of coated steel product. But this is an interesting world out of the entire steel sector. If you really look back and look into the total global scenario, 180 million tons of coated steel which is being produced globally. Asia, that's the largest continent, and this continent only accounts for 57% of the overall installed capacity and the demand level of the coated steel business. More importantly, it is China. China in this continent accounts for 1/3 of the overall production capacity as well as demand of the coated steel business. Now, if I was to move to our own country, we got a 7.5%, almost 7.5% of installed capacity of the global levels. But the demand in the country hovers close to 4.5% levels. Thanks to COVID and the last year, we all know, been a very, very difficult and tough year for all of us, where we have seen the markets and the demands coming. But yes, the later part of the year saw a big kick up coming up in terms of both the prices as well as the demand. But overall, in India, we have seen a market which is hovering close to 8.5 million tons of coated steel products. Now, this demand of coated steel products, which is 8.5 million ton basis, last year's performance of the country is expected to grow phenomenally up. And that's what our insight speaks about. While we all know that COVID and the risk associated with COVID is still looming large, what's happened to American market in China? China has also seen a resurgence of COVID coming up, but they've been very, very quick enough to cover it out. Americans have also seen some kind of a wave coming up in terms of COVID, but they are still grappling with the right answers. That's the risk that we all are living into right now with this kind of a VUCA challenge. Important is the kind of support which each and every continent in the nation is coming up from a regrowth of the economy. If you really look into the stimulus package which America has announced, it's huge. It's running into a couple of $1 trillion. So close to $3 trillion, which means America is going to rebuild them in a big way. So is going to be the case with Europe. Europe is almost about to rebuild itself. There's a huge demand which is about to get generated out of European markets. And Europe accounts for roughly around 32 million tons of coated steel demand, which is almost 1/6 of the overall world's capacity. So with all these stimulus packages and the growth rate in country like India, which is touted to grow closer to a double-digit number, coated steel business is going to be the heart of the growth of any steel company. We also know very well that any steel company, if we look into the global companies, they got almost 40%, 38 to 40% of their entire steel into the downstream, which is coated steel. In India, it's been slightly lower, but we are hopeful the Indian companies would also be catching up with that. If I was to speak about JSW, today we are roughly around 22 2 million tons of installed capacity all over with having footprint all over the country, our installed capacities in coated is roughly around 7.5 million ton, which we would be by the end of this financial year. So which would be roughly around 1/3 of our installed capacities, and we intend to keep our installed capacities in coated steel to the same level. So we know that India is a very positive story that we all been hearing from the various government initiatives. The current government been very, very upbeat in terms of reviving the economy despite the COVID challenges. And they have taken very, very strong measures and policy interventions to make sure that the demand in the country, not only from a steel, but other product categories and the consumerism is also back on track, along with a strong push in terms of the investments which the government wants to let in, be it low-cost housing, be it infrastructure developments, be it various national project pipelines, which they have already earmarked 5 lakh crores. I think this is a game where the steel sector is definitely going to see a big boom coming up. While we all know that National Steel Policy 2017 talks about growing India into a 300 million ton of steel industry by 2030. And I'm very hopeful this is going to be happening to a very close number. While the mathematics may be sounding slightly dramatic over there, but the way the consolidation wave has happened in the larger players in the Indian steel market, they are having stronger plans given the kind of cash reserves they are sitting on. I think this is something which is very likely going to come up very soon. JSW has already announced their own plans to expand in the country. I heard some of our competitors have also gone ahead with their plans. So we expect this market to grow, and this coated steel is going to grow equally into that. If I was to just talk about the installed capacity of coated steel business in the country, hovers close to 12 million tons as of now, we look this market growing, or this capacity growing more than or doubling in next 10 years' time. And the demand in the country, which is hovering close to 8.5 million tons, we are very confident by 2030, this demand would be close to 20 million tons of coated steel products in the country. And with this strong momentum, the key drivers are going to be the industries which are going to really, suck all these products. The downstream industries, which are poised strong to, make this coated demand grow, definitely we all know is going to be pre-engineered buildings in the infrastructure, where there is a strong push coming from government, as well as from large industrial houses. This accounts roughly around today's market basis, 60% of the coated steel products are going into this market, but this is expected to grow at the rate of 9% CAGR. If I was to talk about, I think, more stronger growing markets of consumer durables, which just accounts for 5% of the coated steel demand in the country today, this sector, we think personally that it's going to grow at the rate of 14% CAGR, which means there's a lot of products that we need to actually get going into this kind of market. And there's going to be a lot of innovation that is going to be expected. And this, the third market, what we see, which is general engineering, which is roughly around 1/4 of the market size of coated in the country from a demand perspective. This is also very likely to grow at the same economy rate, which India is looking at 9 to 10% levels. But more interestingly is going to be another segment which is expected is solar. The kind of push government of India has actually led to the renewable sector. And as a country, we are planning or intending to become 280 gigawatts of renewable power nation by 2030. I think this is a segment which is really going to suck or create a pull for coated steel products. This sector, we all know, roughly accounts for roughly around 2% as of now, but we personally look into this is going to be 4 times the size by 2030. So net, if I was to speak about, we see a huge potential coming up from a growth of this particular segment of steel. And we are very upbeat. And JSW today is poised strong in terms of both installed capacities to drive and be partner of the Indian growth scenarios in next 10 years' time. Today, if I was to speak about JSW, we are almost around having 51, 52% share in terms of installed capacities, which we intend to continue managing it. We would be planning to grow at the same rate to make sure our installed capacity percentage share remains constant all throughout. We have already announced a slew of projects, but some right now undergoing, and balance would be kickstarting very soon. But more important would be the capability development, which the country needs right now. The capability perspective would be from grade, which are the segments that I just spoke about, in terms of making sure that these are the segments we are available, and making sure that as a nation we are self-sufficient in terms of supplying and catering to these sectors. Today, I think we got the product portfolio which ranges from the minimum thickness to the highest thickness level in the market, which goes as high as 3.5 mm into a solar segment, and we are there to cater to that market. In terms of widths, I think we are a company which can produce over 1550 mm coils right now. And we are also poised in terms of putting up a lot of finishing lines to cater to all these sectors which are coming up fast. And thing which we've been discussing internally and deliberating is the way world is shaping up, how we can really bring in some new products into the same segment. While we all know we largely hover around GI, GL, and PPGI levels, I think there's another segment of market which we really can look into, which is going to be zinc addition happening along with magnesium, or displacing galvalume with magnesium, which are going to be far, far better products than the existing portfolios. And we are strongly contemplating all these ideas. Very recently, we have also got patents to that, and we are planning to commercialize these products by the end of this financial year. So that's somewhere we have a lot of energies which are on this segment. In terms of technology, we are not only looking into creating new products for the customer, but then our eyes are equally in terms of making sure whatever we do, it's going to be sustainable and green too. We know that the world is going to change, and there is stories about carbon tax, which is coming up in the European market. People are contemplating about that carbon tax. We really want to grow in volumes, but grow in terms of greener side of the business. Right now, we've been discussing with a lot of suppliers in terms of making our furnaces in the coated region more greener. So we really want to fire we know we are firing as on natural gases, but then we really want to fire it on green hydrogen right now. That's a technology which is going to be, earth-shattering for this, segment of the products too. And yes, we intend to not only go green in terms of the furnaces, but also in terms of green power. We stand strong in terms of making sure whatever we are going to do in terms of the products that we're going to bring to the markets, it's going to be having largely coming out of the greener side of the business, which means we are strongly looking into the renewable power sectors in terms of making sure our units are being fired not only in one location, but all across the country. Today in India itself, we got footprint into 10 different places from a coated business perspective, which is very likely to grow maybe in very near future with the opportunities my good friend Mr. Mukherjee was talking in terms of both inorganic possibilities coming out in the country. So we also intend to grow our footprint beyond the 10 locations where we are as of now. And we also want to have an organic growth coming up. And we are committed to go as top as Srinagar, and we really want to have colors coming out there, and which is going to be closer to the national flag of the country. So that's where our plans are, and we're standing strong on this. More important, the kind of human capital push which our Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, been always talking about. And he's been very, very supportive about the startups and the digital voices. So JSW also wants to be partnering with the government of India on those initiatives. We are strongly moving ahead in terms of digitalization, which possibly would be connecting each and everybody into the stakeholder management, right from suppliers to the communities to the customers on a digital platform. And of course, we are mindful, and we've seen some kind of disruption coming up over last 1.5 years because of COVID reasons. To be on a safe, to be on a positive side in terms of making sure our employees are taken well care of in case of any such exigencies. We really want to go to a digital level, and we are really, looking forward right now with our footprint getting onto Industry 4.0 levels. Stronger visibilities and stronger project management is happening in this side of the business too. And we intend to go on to a full Industry 4.0 level in next 2 years' time. And that would really not only bringing larger efficiencies onto our systems, but also making sure our employees, they are taken well care of. So that's on the technology side. But then going into the future, which is 10 years, I think another segment which is very likely going to come up is going to be tin plate. And tin plate is one segment with the packaging industry and the food levels, the changing lifestyle of the next gen of the country. I think tin plate is another segment which is going to come up in a strong way. Today, JSW also got a footprint into the tin plate segment, which we intend to double by the end of this financial year. And we would be the largest tin plate producer in the country by the end of this financial year. We don't want to rest over there only. There's another announcement which we are contemplating on the drawing board to make sure that we are able to cater to the larger public and larger segment over here in terms of growing the market in the country. So our plans are intact, and I'm very, very upbeat and positive about coated steel industry. And I know it's not going to be only from our side, but our fellow industry people would also be in the same space in terms of getting a pie in this growing segment and market. And I look forward to hear from all of you. Thank you very much for having me over here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Malan. Thank you so much. Of course, it's really a great opportunity where we all got a chance to hear from you. I would say in one of the first of the JSW representations where you appeared on behalf of the JSW. So it's a great honor for us. And in fact, believe me, the first day when I spoke to Mr. Jayantacharya, we were having a discussion. So he said that I would like to recommend Mr. Pankaj Malhan. So that's what he had said. And I feel rightly so, because you enriched us so much today. So with that, thank you once again. And I'm not going to let you go only with this webinar. You have to stay connected with us, because we are going to enhance your knowledge with the wonderful experience you have gathered over the years, and sharing it with us. And JSW, I still feel, is a front runner in the industry today. And probably by next financial year, it will be the largest steel maker within India, and probably one among the top in the world. And of course, I think by next year you'll be above sale, so that's for sure. And just today I received the interview answers of Dr. Nawal, where he said that we are going to touch 38 million tons. So that with that 38 million tons, you'll be among the top. So with that, I'll move on to our next speaker. I think Ankit Sridhar, I don't think will be able to make it today, because I think Aditya Mittal has called for a meeting. So Aditya Mittal's meeting, Sridhar has to attend. So we may have to miss Sridhar today. If he can join, he said he'll join later. So we'll move on to Mr. Lala, Mr. Aninda Lala, who's Chief of Sales, Tata Steel, OEM. So again, Tata Steel has a legacy of its own. Tata Steel products sells by virtue of its legacy. I asked Sajanji once, Mr. Sajid Jindal, what is it that keeps you going in acquiring the market share in long product segment, where JSW was a much later entrant. JSW came into the long product segment much later. And he told me it's the strong DNA. So JSW is a company with strong DNA, and Tata Steel is a company with strong legacy of its own. The legacy of Tata Steel having its own raw materials. JSW has got mines just about recently, and Tata Steel have been a miner for so many years. So you have a definite advantage by virtue of having access to captive raw materials that gives you a cost advantage. And then, the brand which has been there for since 1907. Tata Steel was built in 1907. So you have a legacy. So with that, I'll move on to you, Mr. Lala. And Ankit, please take forward. I'll take a break for 10 minutes. Ankit, if you could take over.
Sure, no problem. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And a very good evening to all my panelists, my fellow panelists, and those who are on this webinar. I'm struggling to, yeah. Is this visible, the presentation?
Yes, we can see the screen.
Okay. So, so once again, a very good evening, and drawing from what Mr. Malhan was saying, I believe that the steel development and its usage has been shaped in the past, keeping in mind how we make it sustainable, and going forward, I think it'll be more so. So I was looking at how we have actually panned out the steel industry, and what comes out very clearly is the fact that steel is an ideal product for the circular economy, and we know the 4 R's that we keep talking about, whether it is reduce, reuse, remanufacture, and of course, when we look at, sorry. Have I?
Yeah, we can see the slide.
You can? Okay. Sorry,
yes, we can see the slide which says reduce, reuse, remanufacture, and recycle.
So reduce, reuse, remanufacture, and recycle. We really know that this is something that the steel industry has been focusing on. And drawing from what we were just talking about, that that the focus that we need to decarbonize and be falling in line with the Paris Agreement has actually pushed us, and like I said, that over the last maybe 50 years, I would say that steel has been investing, and going forward, we have been looking to see how we reduce. And if we look at what has happened, we see that grades have been developed which have reduced the weight of these many steel applications that we use, whether it be in automotive, in engineered solutions, everywhere. So if we look at data, it says that it is almost by 40% that we have managed to reduce through optimization of weight alone. And also, we have succeeded in reducing the amount of energy that we use by a similar amount. So while productions have gone up over the year, but the usage of energy we have succeeded in bringing down by 40%. Now, keeping that in mind, if we look at why circular economy, and there are obviously inherent benefits that we see that are there. The important thing that we talk about is the fact that, raw material and the need to securitize raw material, driving efficiencies, bringing in productivity, and also increasing the life cycle of the various products that we have. Now, if this be the cornerstone of how the usage of steel is to pan out, then I was again looking at the durability of steel And when we look at this graph or this picture, it pretty much emerges that while a major chunk and close to almost 50% of steel has long service life, wherein maybe it might be 40 to 50 years before it actually takes shape and you can reuse them. But then there are other chunks, whether it be in the automobile and the scrapping policy that is there, or the various metal products, drums, barrels, electrical equipments, where the possibility of recycling is a lot more. So if we look at what has happened, we have seen that, keeping this in mind, what I mentioned, that the weight reduction and the fact that through weight reduction, there has been significant benefits that have come to us. Now, I would now, would be looking at the automotive segment. The automotive segment, the consumer behavior has changed, and the way we see in the next 10 to 15 years, there are certain distinct changes drawing from what we just talked about in terms of the reduced part of it, the reuse part of it, and also the emerging needs of safety, the emerging need of lightweighting, the emerging need of evolution, moving away from the ICE to hybrids and to EVs. If you look at that, if we see what is happening, in terms of safety and regulations, the need of the hour really is that we move away from or let's say the earlier safety norms and bring in best in class. The focus on EVs is also pushing us to see how we bring in the battery management solutions, because that in itself is a big challenge. And how do we ensure that it meets with all the safety norms? And of course, what I mentioned about the carbon emission, and therefore the fuel efficiencies and the CO2 norms that are coming in with each version of the BS. In order to achieve these safety and regulatory requirements, the material preferences have obviously undergone a change. And there are a lot more usage of the ultra high strength steel. There is a lot more use of the GAGI kind of materials, because we are looking at how do we prevent corrosion, and also adoption of wider formats. And when I say wider formats, I'm talking about wider width of steel, because there is, as we have seen, a distinct move away from the smaller vehicles to the SUVs, and there are multiple formats of SUVs that are available today in the market. And because of these, the products have also evolved, and like I mentioned, that the requirements of moving from ICE-based to EV would have significant changes, and of course, communication. So whether it be vehicles having communication devices in them, a customer wanting more information about the vehicles that they are going to buy. So a multiple piece revolves around that. So if this is the changing behavior of our customers, then if we look at some of the trends, and these trends, I would say, are global. Drawing from that, if we look at each of the regions, and we find that the one major driver continues to remain the CO2 and emission regulations. Of course, the legislations in terms of vehicle scrappage, in terms of changes in demographics, but CO2 emission safety regulations cuts across regions and boundaries of countries. So if this again is one of the key factors which is pushing us to design our products, then what are the technological changes that are taking place? Because keeping in mind the fact that we are looking at reducing emissions, we are bringing in efficiency in our product, the vehicles that we drive. So if we look at the ICE technology, you are trying to see how you build in waste heat recovery systems, and there are multiple international automakers who are working on this, and we have in place certain automakers who are utilizing this in hybrid vehicles where they are maybe heating up the battery pack, or they are using this for recharging of the batteries. So there is a lot of work that is happening in terms of tapping the exhaust heat that gets generated. And similar work in terms of the cylinder deactivation. So how do we work to see that we deactivate the multiple cylinders that are there, and thereby building in more efficiency? So a combination of cylinders getting deactivated in a systematic manner and thereby improving. So the focus again, as whether it is the new combustion process or cylinder deactivation or the variable valve train, all focusing on seeing how we bring in a more efficient engine and with lesser consumption of fuel, and thereby a CO2 emission reduction. On the powertrain, again, there are changes that are taking place: battery systems, fuel cells. We did talk about the safety requirements, so high strength body material, airbags, comfort. Of course, there is no end to what we are thinking of. So moving on from here, if we look at these aspects as, again, important aspects to look at, how do we see the usage of materials changing? And here, we have tried to capture what is happening globally and then in each of these main regions. And here what we see is that, the utilization of steel per se globally is coming down across. And if we look at whether it is EU, whether it is China, US, across, it is coming down. But the impact that we see in India is not as significant as that of the other regions. And even if we look at the global average, the impact of utilization of steel is not really as, the reduction of usage of steel in India is not as high as we see in the other regions. So what we see is this other, which is the non-ferrous and plastics. We see that really winning over maybe aluminum, which more or less is likely to remain constant. We have also tried to look at, how does it change in terms of the various vehicle domains, in terms of body, in terms of drivetrain, in terms of chassis. And obviously, what we mentioned, the need for lightweighting has essentially pushed the use of ultra high strength steel usage a lot more than what we are currently using. And the utilization of low strength steels will go down significantly over a period of time. So the first graph we talk about, where we are looking at the body, and in the body we see that, from, let's say, current level of 34% of low strength steel, it is getting halved by 2040 to about 17%. So if we look at this, and this is the trend, so essentially what does it mean for us steel makers? It means that we need to get ready to see how we capitalize on this. And when we look at this, these drawing from what we just saw into how the steel usage in India is panning out, we see that, the material usage trends in India are pretty much in line, at least directionally. It's very, very similar to the global trends. And what are these? We are seeing that, there is increasing use of advanced high strength steels. However, the adoption rate, to my mind, continues to remain subdued. It is less intense, it is slower. But I believe that, with the pickup of regulatory standards and the focus on, the CO2 emission norms, safety and crash norms are getting tightened with each BS versions, this adoption is surely going to pick up. And therefore, the need of, as I said, advanced high strength steels, the increasing strength of the exposed panels, whether it is the doors, hood, fender, the need for wider formats, and also the increase of coated. Because typically in India, we have, largely not used too much of coated steel. But with time, we have seen that, more and more automakers, OEMs are moving into GAGI. And this trend is only going to increase, keeping in mind, again, the need to control the corrosion levels in vehicles. So we've tried to sort of map to see that, if these are the grades that are required, then are they available in the local domain? And what we find that, these or most of these grades are actually available with the Indian steel makers. However, one of the concerns that most OEMs, auto OEMs raise is in terms of the consistency or the reliability of the advanced grade steels. Again, what we believe that, with the increased adoption, the more we make the steel, the more we gather experience, and the more we gather experience, the better we will get. So to my mind, we have proved in the past that we have the capability, and going forward, there are investments that are being made by steel makers to ensure that, we are ready to address this emerging market. The grades that are in red, so here, I'm talking about the press hardenable steel and the mud. So these grades are currently not available. We are thinking of in our facilities in Kalinganagar to see whether we can bring this in. The volumes will be less, but given the trends and what I mentioned that, while we are following the international trends, but we are seeing that, PHS is being widely used, and with the evolution of EV, and we believe that EV is a story that is bound to stay. If that be the case, then PHSs would be very, very critical for us to develop Moving on, if, I was just again looking at this and I was saying that, what does it mean? So we have moved the annealing technology in India, the adoption of annealing technology in India have moved significantly over the years. But what does it hold for us in the future? Our technology partners are the best people to talk about it. But obviously, in order to be ready to do ultra high strength steels, to do a PHS with 2000 MPa, the whole process needs to evolve. I would, just end my presentation with a couple of thoughts in terms of the coated play. The focus really has been, how do we improve the corrosion-free life? And these are some of the guarantees that we provide. So auto would expect a 12-year, appliances 15 years, construction 50 years. And in terms of applications, Mr. Malan talked about, the huge requirements in the various sectors, segments for coated steel. The ask, I would say, I was looking at a very niche part of it, which is that, what is it that we need to do in terms of the additional coatings that might be required moving forward. And I'm looking at this part, which is the non-zinc portion of the coated products. And here I'm saying that, the functional coatings. So, and there are multiple in this area. I'm talking about, with the current pandemic, an area where we have been working on is on creating antimicrobial coating and creating products which have antimicrobial qualities. To my mind, has a huge application. And we have, prepared and succeeded, to my mind, to develop this product along with our partners, Becker. And this is showing great results. What we find is that, in case of normal coating, this is the kind of bacteria that thrive. Whereas when we put in the antimicrobial coating, the bacteria don't survive, and it is, the reduction is almost by 100%, 99.99. So that's a significant improvement. So these are some areas, to my mind, which are emerging and the need of the hour. The other thought that we have is in terms of how do we prevent the degradation of color-coated material. And we know that, whether it be moisture, whether it be sunlight, whether it be temperature, all these have effect on the degradation of steel or the color-coated materials that we have. And we, India being in the tropical region, all these play havoc. And therefore, again, an area where we need to work on is that what is it that we can do to build a paint system which will address this aspect and thereby build the longevity of the product that we are making. And finally, I would talk about a very interesting area where we from Tata Steel have been investing in, and that is services and solutions. Where again, I think the
Mr. Lala, may I request you to conclude, please, because you have overshot your time.
Sorry, just last point here, that this part where we are looking at how we can make use of steel in our day-to-day life. So be it doors, be it shelters, be it sanitation lifestyle solutions. With that, I'd like to thank you all, and any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Lala. Well covered, I would say, especially during this period of crisis. The micropier coating, I'm sure, will add value to the product in terms of maintaining safety standards. And I think you covered very well in terms of mentioning about how drastically the consumer pattern is likely to change with the less amount of steel being consumed. So you have to grow in volumes to make up for the gap. So thank you so much. And with that, Mr. Lala, with your permission, I'd like to move on to our next speaker. Our next speaker would be Mr. Lakshminarayan Acharya, who is the Managing Director of Maxis Motion Controls. Now, maintenance of our mills are of optimum importance when you are pushing your load to the limits. So Mr. Lakshminarayan Acharya will highlight how our roll grinding solutions would benefit the customer in terms of savings, in terms of maintenance of the mill, and overall improvement in performance. Before that, I'd just like to once again mention that we are live on YouTube. So those of you who are having issues with joining on our platform on Zoom can do so on our YouTube streaming, and it is available on our website www.steelconferences.com or on our website www.steelmetallurgy.com. So you can join us live on our YouTube as well. So with that, I'll move on to Mr. Lakshminarayan Acharya, Managing Director of Maxis Motion Controls, who's based out of Thailand right now. And over to you, Mr. Acharya.
Thanks, Mr. Mukherjee. Am I audible?
Absolutely, loud and clear.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks to my fellow panelists today. They are talking more about steel production. I don't come from steel production background. We come from the support background, as you mentioned. I just share my screen now. So I'm going to make a short presentation on roll grinders and specifically how roll grinders affect cold rolling. This is the topic today. It's before I start the technical stuff, I would like to introduce the company because we need a little more introduction than JSW or Tata Steel. Maxis Motion is a company which gives solutions to roll grinders and other machine tools. Roll grinder is also a machine tool. So we are active in specifically in roll grinders and other machine tools. We are catering to roll grinders in many sectors. Steel rolling is one, and roll grinders are also used in wherever rolls are used in aluminum industry and paper industries. We are active in all these areas. We have done more than 50 roll grinder upgrade projects in many countries. Sitting here in Bangkok, I also take care of customers in Taiwan or Korea, POSCO, and in India we are very, very active. And just as a background, what we do is we give complete solution for the roll grinder, including mechanical, then automation, then adding extra features like roll measuring systems or roll inspection system. This is where we come from. Now, I just want to start with how a user sees roll grinder from a different point of view in a different mill. Now, in steel industry, roll grinders are used in hot strip mill, and a bit of extension of that is a plate mill, and then cold rolling mill. Now, if you take a hot strip mill actually looks at more of productivity for the grinder because the throughput of rolls is quite high there. So rolls are ground within 30 minutes or even lesser today. Then it requires a lot of power because you have to remove a lot of material. And what they expect is basically a moderate roll surface quality. That is because it's going through hot rolling. Now, if you see the dartboard and the dart here, what I tried to do was to say that this is the acceptance level, the big dartboard, and you stand in a sufficient distance because you need to get a high throughput. So it is not very difficult to achieve. Whereas on the other end is paper roll grinder. To some extent, it is also used. This kind of application is in aluminum foil production. Now here the output has to be very, very accurate and very, very controlled roll finish. And again, that cannot be any roll blemish. We call it, any marks, chatter marks, or the feed marks, or shadows. And the advantage here, here the acceptance level is quite tight, but this is also done very slowly. It is like if you take a hot strip mill, as I told you, a roll comes out in sometimes 15 minutes, whereas in a paper roll grinder, since the throughput is very slow, you can grind for up to 2 days. That is also allowed in a paper roll grinder. I'm not saying that is necessarily the norm, but you can do that. And so the operator skill also plays a big role. Whereas now we go to the more difficult area, that is the cold rolling mill. Now, cold rolling mill has stringent requirements as a paper roll grinder. It requires very high accuracy, not as much as a foil mill roll grinder, but it requires very controlled roll finish. I'm talking about the surface roughness and things like that, but absolutely no roll blemish. Now, this is very typical in a cold rolling mill because because of the further processes of cold rolling. Sometimes the blemish, whatever you see, the mark comes only on the finished coil. You can't even see on the roll. So this becomes very difficult for the roll shop to really see what is going on with the roll on the machine. And roll mark is by far the most difficult problem on the roll grinder when it comes to a cold rolling mill. And here you require reasonably fast turnaround time, not like 30 minutes, but maybe 2 hours, 3 hours. Now, all this achievement requires a very good machine. We call it a fundamentally good machine. Now, a fundamentally good roll grinder, we call it when the good machine, when it comes out of the production, what it has is basically a very high construction stability. It has got very good casting, very wide guideways, because it has to withstand the loads coming on the machine. And very good machine design. Machine design is when the machine is moving, though it has all the very good casting and very wide guideways, but it may be leading to some instability and because of that vibration. And also it requires very stable mechanical properties. When you say mechanical property, a spindle is the heart of the machine. And how the spindle is behaving over a period of time, and even during grinding, how it behaves with temperature. These are the important defining things. And it requires very good flexible automation, because ultimately you manipulate parameters and then able to control grinding process and get a good roll. And on top of that, these are the basic machine tool structure, you can say. On top of that, you also need a roll measuring system to produce more accurate rolls than what otherwise machine can give. Machine can allow if you barely grind the roll, machine may give you a 10, 15, 20 micron roll, but you want within that, so you need a roll measuring system. And nowadays it is also required that to protect the roll from exploding in the mill, the people also get roll inspection system to measure eddy current and ultrasound. Measure with electric current ultrasound the defects on the roll. So these are the good roll grinder characteristics, what we look at. Now, on the other side, why a good machine is important. I'm not talking about a new machine when you buy. As machine is used, it loses its accuracy and performance. What really happens is basically an inferior machine in a CRM leads to oscillations and thus roll marks. When you have the worn out guideways, though the guideways create vibration on the machine. when you have a moving element like a ball screw, which is old, it creates vibration on the machine. Then it leads to intermittent marks. Suddenly 2 rolls are okay, third roll has a problem. Now, this hinders troubleshooting because the source of the problem can't be known. This is where you come into a complete, the dark area where you don't know where the problem is coming from. And also a machine, people use manual roll grinders, but when you go for CNC that allows you to manipulate the parameters. And this is very essential today because as the machine characteristic changes, you need to be able to change the parameters and then improve the output. And also machine, because of the wear out, has low accuracy and there is no automation, you cannot correct it. These are the characteristics of a problematic roll grinder, I would say. And this machine, if you are in your plant and you cannot plan for a trial production of a better product because you don't have a roll grinder to cater to this. This is another problem what people face. And an inferior machine, either it was good in the beginning and then goes bad after 10 years or so, or even a bad machine which you buy because it is cheap, it can only get worse. It can never get better over a period of time. So what we need to do is to do periodic health audit and planned alignment and maintenance to help avoid unforeseen consequences. This is the primary requirement of user, of doing something in between before you have a problem. This is of a bad roll grinder. Now, how do you improve? It is not that it's completely a lost case for a roll grinder. This is where we come into picture. Now, what is possible, with this, all we can do, but I'm just giving a neutral opinion here. What is possible is to rebuild the complete machine, because roll grinders typically can last for up to say 40 years, but they have to be rebuilt at least 2 times in that lifetime. Otherwise, you won't get satisfactory result. So what can be done is the guideways can be rebuilt, completely rebuilt by scraping and then getting the accuracies back. Then we can replace the spindle unit, ball screws, bearings, pulleys, all moving parts on the machine. It is possible to do that. And they can be manufactured, they can be bought, they're all possible to be made. And then we also can replace a lubrication and hydraulic systems on the machine, hydrostatic system also on the machine. Now, hydrostatic system is a bit of a iffy thing. For cold rolling mill, when you choose a roll grinder, it is also important that you need to choose a grinder which is suitable for your production. Don't go for a very high-powered hydrostatic machine because it is good to use in the beginning, but over a period of time, it may lead to issues where you normally don't use the power, but at lower power, it may not behave the way it is supposed to behave. And then things like accessories, like steadies, coolant systems, face plates, etc., they are also very important and they can be rebuilt. And in between, you can also add options like wheel dynamic balancing. This helps with stabilization of the wheel. Now, machine can be brought to a fully reconditioned state. In a fully reconditioned state, it gives you accuracy as it was a new machine. It is possible to do that. And only thing you need to do is that people should have the experience of manufacturing of part and setting of the machine as per grinder requirements. Now, one thing also, I hear sometimes that I bought a roll grinder and the factory looks very good from the manufacturer. It happens. Roll grinders are not made by machines. Roll grinders are made by people. So you need to understand that the people who make those roll grinders are skilled. They understand how to set the machine for your application. Then electrical CNC automation. In hot strip mill today, almost all roll grinders are CNC. They're controlled by automation system because otherwise you can't get the throughput of the roll grinder. But in cold rolling mill, still people use manual roll grinder. But I strongly suggest converting them into CNC. This is because a control system allows flexibility in parameterization. You can change the parameters. You can also, change the grinding wheel speed, the speed of the movement of the wheel, everything. And then it is controlled by a very high quality servo system today. If you see a Siemens servo system, what we normally use, the movement of parts by the servo system is very precise. And one more thing which is critical is features like current controlled grinding. In a current controlled grinding is where you precisely position the wheel, giving a constant load over the face of the roll. These things are possible only with an automation system. And with measuring system, you can get a better accuracy of the roll through various compensation. So you can, on the fly, you can compensate for the inaccuracy of the machine and get a better roll. And this is the only way to marry productivity with quality. There is no other way. Otherwise, you will take very, very long time getting the required output of the machine. And most manual roll grinders can be converted to CNC, getting all these parameters. And also you can have higher spindle power because this can compensate, CNC can compensate for wheel wear when it is moving. So this is an additional thing you get, and the productivity goes up dramatically. And roll measuring system, this is it's an add-on system actually. This can measure the profile, taper, crown, roundness, many things. And it can also measure, the one is the roll, and other one is, since it is ground on the machine, how the roll is sitting with respect to the machine. So a roll measuring system can check and establish how the roll is sitting on the machine, and that will compensate for the error of misalignment. And last but not the least, why people require a roll measuring system is because when you have issues in the mill, you really don't know whether the roll is up to the quality. And it is very impractical today to measure every roll manually and then record the result. That is very difficult. Now, another option what people can have, many times budget is the consideration, and you can't afford to go for a new machine. It happens mostly with cold rolling mill because the capacities are not always huge where you can go for 2-3 roll grinders. So one option is to go for a rebuilt roll grinder. Now here, this is a cost-effective option. The cost of this machine doesn't exceed 50% of the new roll grinder. But you also get a guaranteed turnkey solution. That is because these machines are based on a well-known roll grinder brand, which has worked for many years. So you don't have any, doubtful thing about this. And it is possible to completely rebuild the machine, change all moving parts. So essentially, the casting is retained, and those castings are good because, over a period of time, casting settles down and then removes all the vibration and those things from the machine. And completely new automation, new measuring system, and this is customized as required. If you give the rolls used in your plant, the machine can be customized for that. And it can also be enhanced with inspection system, eddy current or ultrasound inspection system, like any other roll grinder. Now, I will give you an example of one of the machines which was given to a stainless steel manufacturing unit of POSCO in Thailand. This was a completely, this is an old roll grinder, completely rebuilt with a new measuring system. You can see the guideways being rebuilt, new measuring system. And this is where it was operating. And if you see, it can produce a mirror finish roll. Very high quality roll output, very high accuracy, very high roll quality output is possible with this kind of machine. And I will go to another 2 examples here. This is an old Farrell machine, which is again rebuilt with a new measuring system. This goes to a cold rolling mill. And this machine, unfortunately, you can't see the old type of machine. This machine came from Novelis, UK. And then this is the machine which after it was rebuilt. So this produces aluminum foil, which is rolled at a thickness of 13 microns. And just again, going before we leave, just a brief recap of our company. We are a leading player of roll grinder revamp in Asia. We work with partner companies. We work in a lot of countries in Asia, except in China and Japan. We do complete mechanical rebuilding of the machine. We kind of have understood different machines in different applications. How these machines are built for different applications. So that has actually helped us a lot because we are in that business. And we do retrofit, CNC retrofit with Siemens CNC and our own RollMax proprietary software, which works for roll grinding function. And also it incorporates in our new roll measurement system. It's our own system. You can see it's a different type for different machine. And we can also integrate eddy current and ultrasonic scanning system. Now here we use mostly LISMAR, but we can also integrate with other freelance equipment. And we also supply revamped grinders. If you can see, we work on all major machine roll grinding machines. So this is the status we have, and these are our customers. We also have worked in other companies through our partners, but this is where we have gone to the plant and worked on in these companies. So with that, I just conclude my presentation. So if you have any doubt about roll grinding technology related to machines, we are there to help you. So this is, you can contact us, you can go to our website, you can see contact details, you can write emails to us. We will help you with any issue you have on your machine. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Acharya, and let me compliment you for completing well on time. I did not have to give you a polite reminder also. So thank you for finishing on time and covering well the importance that we need to keep our rolls in good shape and in good health, just like we need to keep our bodies in good health. So sure. the mill health depends on how you maintain your rolls in your mills. So with that, thank you so much once again. And once again, if you could just repeat your website and web address so that if anyone needs to get in touch, they can get in touch with you.
Our website is www.maxismotion.com.
Thank you so much, Mr. Acharya. Yeah. So now I'll move on to another good friend of mine, very good friend for many years, Mr. Mithileshwar Jadhav from Daneli, India. And we have been friends for quite some time now. And as I mentioned right at the beginning, I share a very special relationship with Daneli. Every year I'm invited to the headquarters in Busio in Italy for the annual general meeting. And we have a press conference with the CEO of Daneli Group, Mr. Benedetti. So I'm really honored to have Daneli with us. I'm ensured that Daneli is not kept unrepresented in any of our webinars because of the relationship we have shared for more than 20 years with Daneli. So with that, I'll put you on to my friend, Mr. Mithileshwar Jadhav, who will take you through the Daneli portfolio in terms of their presence in this segment. And Daneli, as you know, is a full liner. They offer full liner solutions right from raw material down to your downcoiler. Everything is taken care of by them. So in the downstream segment, Mr. Mithileshwar Jadhav is the person who is responsible for this segment. Over to you, Mr. Jadhav.
Thank you, Namrata, for your nice introduction. And it was really very, very nice. And I know you are already enjoying very good relation with Daneli, and you have also very good access with the super top management of the group. Okay, let me share my presentation to start.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, just give me a minute. Can you see my screen?
Absolutely, very clear.
Great, great. So first of all, very good evening to all of you. And my name is Miteshwar Yadav, as already introduced by Nimlada. I am going to talk about the Danelli cold mill complexes and also the uh, design for the future and the product and operation demands for the new market. So this presentation is going to be, let's say, like very balanced blend between the technical and the marketing slides. I will not be the technical because I belongs to really sales and business development department. It will be not justice with my profile. So here is going to be following topics which I will be elaborating in coming times. I will be giving a brief introduction about Dandy Group infrastructure in India and manufacturing capability in India, then followed by main cold complexes project which we have executed from Dandy India, and technological packages which we have for the cold mill complexes. Not the all, but I tried to cover at least the few important ones. And then conclusion. In the same slide, you can see in the right side of the image, we have Dandy Globe. We call Globe I have sometime. Dandy at a glance, basically. It's representing entire group in one circle. You can see there are 25 to 26 number of the business units which comes under a Dandy group, and each business unit is responsible for certain type of the business in the metal industry. Here I'll be talking basically about, let me use pointer, please. Here I'll be talking mainly the product line, or let's say like business units which are involved in the cold mills and industry processing line divisions. So the main is Dandy United, where we cover all the flat products, cold products here. And in addition to that, we need to have Dandy automation and the Disimet to provide all the electrician automation requirement for this product line, and followed by Danny Kohler, which is a separate business units we have in the portfolio, which looks after all the wiping equipment for all the metal coating lines worldwide. We made this business unit separate because it has also the direct business in the market. It means we are also selling this product to the line supplied by our competitor. It is not only for our internal use. These are the key three main products line, but we have also the Dandy Fata Hunter, from which business units we look after the color coating lines. I'll be talking a little bit about the history of Dandy United, because this is a business unit which looks after all the flat cold products worldwide. And is, we can see like the Win and United were two different entities in long back, like initial days of 19th century, and United was established in 1901 and Win in 1929. So United was very much famous in the market for the cold mills and Win for the processing lines. But unfortunately, they have to work for the same project every time. So they decided to get married during 1968, and they continued for a while. But eventually, after some time in 1986, they got separated, and Dandy has acquired them individually in 91 and 92. Then later on in 1995, Dandy declared like Dandy Win United a business unit for the entire flat product, not only for the cold loading and mill processing. They have also their own know-how for the hot flat rolling. And just to highlight the kind of the background or legacy we are enjoying for this product line, and you can even believe we are, let's say, like more than century old company in this business units, and Win and United were undisputed leader in the market in the past. Here, this slide is highlighting the kind of the product lines which we are covering in this. So we have basically solution for the any type and any kind of the loading mills. So it can be 10 down, single stand, 2 stand, 3 stand, 10 down, 4 stand, 5 stand, maybe 4 I, 6. All kind of the configuration we have in our basket. For the strip processing lines, we have the same, like we start from pickling, and we also go to up to the service line, including the metal coating, tin plating, electrolytic cleaning, and tin free coating, and whatever it is. So we have complete solution for the entire cold loading complex. We have also solution for the stainless steel, but I will be not talking about this because it's not really right for. I'm switching to the next topic about the Dandy infrastructure in India. So these pictures you can see. I will also showing you the realistic picture in the next slide. We have this factory in Dandy in India. this place is located in Sri City. It's come under the Andhra Pradesh province of India, and it is around 90 to 100-kilometer drive from Chennai airport. So we do all the equipment manufacturing for our countries, of course, for the India, and also we do the export, not limited to the Asian market. It also goes up to the America. Some more pictures. This is in this you can see that this is the entire area of the factory, going even the backside, and this is the office area where we have a entire supply admin just to assist the factory operation. Then moving ahead, we have our own automation division in India itself, and it is located in Kolkata. There is also one workshop where we do kind of manufacturing for, right, and mainly on the panel and all. And we have also another office in the Kolkata itself where our automation colleagues stay. And we are specialized to do all these jobs like mentioned: automation panel, MCC, drives panel, MCS panel, keybox. On the kind of the application we decide what to make in this area, but we at least for the local customer we try to make something in India. Then we have also office in the for the rating furnace, maybe for the processing furnace in this area. That is separate business unit we call dynamic central combustion, and we do the complete itself, and they are located in Pune. So from that office, we are offering to our customer like all the corporate services. Of course, this is the level for the company. Then engineering and the project management from the background. I was talking maybe the couple of reasons. The first reason is of course the kind of the policies our government is bringing, that is Bharat and Step Launch India and all. So this is just to highlight like we are absolutely prepared not only for the cold loading products and steel processing lines, even for the entire metal industry requirement to cater it locally from India. Of course, following the entire technological know-how and the engineering from the headquarters. And this is the kind of the message I'm trying to put on the table. And I would also like to take this opportunity to highlight the key reasons why we have a factory in India. And this is not really a small setup; it is really big setup, and let's say like a very special setup in India for this kind of the industry. And the reason what is like the passion of our honorable chairman and the CEO of the group, because they are very much passionate about this business, not only for the money, but the reason is their aspiration and their passion about the technology and the industry. And they believe if we are going to make most of the equipment inside, it's going to help us to execute the project on the time, because everything is in our own control, and it is going to help to at least control the lead time for the equipment. What we commit to the customer, we have leverage to deliver those commitment on time, and whatever the promises it is there. Now, secondly is the internationalization of the dynamic product quality. So bringing the factory in all the strategic location is going to help the group to deliver the same product quality all across the world. Means we have the factory in India, we have another factory in China, we have one more factory in Thailand, Italy, Austria, Russia. So depending on all the let's say like the strategic location, we have that kind of the facilities with the intent to deliver the equipment at the right time with the right quality, and let's select the same quality worldwide. This was the key reason behind this setup. Next, I'm trying to highlight what we have made from Dynally India. I'm not talking more about the Dynally group here because it's a bit specific for this local market. So I would be like happy to talk only about the cold loading area, which is more relevant to the webinar topic. So we have made one cold complex for the United Iron and Steel Company from Dynally India. This complete project was signed between the UIC and the Dynally India. And we have executed this complete project from India itself, and this plant is running well. And the plant capacity was approximately 300,000 ton. And with the product line, you can see also the post-put pickling line on layout also. Then we were having the 4-high cold reversing mill here, and LTGL entry, exit, and service lines. There is also a space provision, and in fact they made also one color coating line display. Brief data about this plant. So as I already told, this plant was made for 300,000 pickling, 250 for rolling and the galvanizing, and relevant capacity for the service line. And another complex we made from India was JSW Tarapur tin plate complex, and the we successfully implemented, and the most of the equipment has been made in our even for India itself, located in city. This plant includes a double core reduction mill up to 50,000 ton, recoiling line is sometimes called line, then electrolytic cleaning line. This is the finishing line for this complex, and we have also two cut to length line in the complex. More data you can see here also. Also the some pictures I missed to put. Let's say like latest picture, but yes, we the line is running very well with and achieving all the product quality, and we are get some good words from our customer on this call. Then going ahead, we made. In fact, we are doing it. We are making two galvanizing line for GSW in Vijayanagar. One line is already commissioned and commercial trials, and another is under commissioning. And each of them are identical and located parallel to each other. The key features are here, and in fact, this complete package. In fact, what inside the group. If I talk about this galvanizing line, we made the furnace from our business unit, Dynamic Central Combustion, automation from Dynamic Automation, including the electrics, and the entire terminal equipment from Dynamic United. And most of the equipment has been made in our own workshop in India itself, except the few technological equipment like air knife, maybe tension level, cassettes, etc. And all the basic engineering and the application software for the line was coming from Italy. Going ahead, I will be talking a bit in very brief because I have also very tight time limit. 15 minutes is really too less to talk about inside. I will try to touch upon each, let's say like each of the technological package, let's say like key technological package for the cold complex. Start with the post-pull pickling line, and in the post-pull pickling line, Danley has very innovative technology. I use the word innovative because Danley is the group, it is something really when we feel, let's say like when we talk about this topic, we feel ourselves like very.
Nitileshwar, you're having a connectivity issue, is it? Because your voice is cutting off in the middle.
Right, because this is a company. Sorry, Nemlada, but hello.
Yeah,
Am I audible?
you're audible, but your voice is cutting off in the mid, sometime. So, can you?
Now,
are you using a headphone or you're using the
I'm
laptop?
using headphone. I'm using headphone. Now is better.
Yeah, now it's fine. I think you can take off the headphone. It will be better.
Okay. Yeah. I also realized that. Okay, sorry for.
No problem.
Coming back. Yeah, coming back to the slides. So I was talking about Danley Innovation. Danley is a company who spend more than their earning in the research and development. If I talk about the last year balance sheet and it's like the financial statements, we see Danley has spent like more than 180 million euro in the research and development, and meantime they made the profit of only 56 million. And that 56 million is like 1.8 to 2% of the entire sales revenue, but they spend 3 times more, means 5 to 6% in the research and development. The result is what I'm going to talk about, all this core technological package, which came up after a lot of research and development at our lab, or maybe also sometime at our site. So one of that I was saying about in post-pull pickling line, that is also applicable in the continuous pickling line, and that is known as the turbo flow process. And in this technology, what we did, we used high flow rate of the acid in the tank to create more turbulence on the strip surface, both side and the bottom. And that result, let's say like this strong turbulence is creating very strong swill action on the strip surface, top and bottom both side, to achieve the very efficient pickling, and also that result is saving in the acid consumption. But okay, acid is very cheap in this case, but the biggest saving is steam saving. So that kind of the package. If I try to expand a bit more here, we can see we are using the high flow rate of acid from these nozzles, you can see in the picture, and they are coming with a tendency to flow like this, and from here there, and another flow is going from here. So these two are meeting at this point and creating very strong swivel action on the top, and the same thing is happening at the bottom because of this internal design. So this is the kind of the technological package, and this package we can also not sell only with our new line. We can also offer to our customers through let's say like retrofitting and revamping kind of the job. Another important technological package for us is side trimmer, and the side trimmer is also like a kind of the very important parameter. Let's say like equipment for any of the pickling line. And if we talk about the post pickling line, this equipment is like fully automatic with the gap and the lap adjustment, and this give us the better life for the blades. And because of this automatic gap and lap adjustment, we have also some additional sensor out there which also help us to not do the calibration every time. So only one time, once we are changing the blades and all, we have to do once, and after that there is no need to do. So I can say it is fixed in the commissioning itself. Then going ahead, okay, this also offer significantly less scrap than cobbling because of we have the very special design we call chopper. So with the special chute, so the chute is designed in such a way it's not going to create any cobbling inside the chute of the chopper to trimmer basically. And we are also offering offline. Okay, this package, the side trimmer is also available, of course, with our main line, and also we can offer to our customer in the retrofitting and let's say like one package sale. In addition to that, we have also offline recirculation system. So it depends. For our line, these are always by default, but for the recirculation system, we need to really analyze the customer current line, whether they have the feasibility or possibility to integrate or not. Going ahead, we have another package. Now it is in cold rolling mill area. In the mill area, we have confined jet dryer. And in confined jet dryer, this is another very important equipment. It is always installed at the delivery side of the mill. It may be applicable also in tandem and also single strand or maybe double strand on the delivery side. But in the reversing case, you have also possibilities to take from both ends. So you can also install this machine in two types. What going to do, this is going to provide let's say like very efficient solution which is extracting all the contaminants including the oil, emulsion, whatever it is on the strip, and making the very clean strip. The technology which we are using here, you can see this is the one example only for the top side. So we are using this area. One side we are creating the wiping effect. So we are creating boundary on the strip surface with the sealing knife. So in fact, in the top only we have like 0.5 meter width. One side we are sealing, another side we are wiping, and top of it we are doing the suction. And this is very efficient. If you see into the pressure, like sealing and the wiping, we are doing at the 250 millibar and the 500, and suction we are doing at the -30 millibar. And this is resulting in removing everything from the strip, and result it is because of this technology we are like 20 times greater shear force on the strip surface, which ensure no stain, no material downgrade because of this. And if you go on to the economical result, we are able to offer our customer 0.6 euro per ton saving on the, let's say, like operating cost. There is another package where we offer to our customer that is yield boost technology, and that technology always comes with our dynamic automation. And we can also retrofit this package on the mail supplied by others, but yes, we have to again check the existing solution. And here what we are doing, we are offering close gap strip threading even starting from the first strand. So means when we are threading the strip here, we can close the mill housing and strip goes to the second, and the rolling, let's say like not the pure rolling, but yes, the reduction in the thickness is starting from first strand itself. So that is what doing the out of thickness length remains same, but the thickness of the material get reduced, and that effect is something like here we can see for the conventional two-strand rolling mill, it was 96 to 98.2%. And after implementing the yield boost technology, we achieved the overall material yield for the mill from 90, let's say, if I compare this number from here to here, 97.6 to 98.9, up to 99 also. Very challenging, but depending on the product mix and the specific, let's say, like the strip dimension, it is achievable, and we have made it. Then another beautiful package in the cold rolling plant. This is for the galvanizing line, and this is the diagonally wiping equipment, a diagonally polar air knife. This is a special product. You know, when we talk again, I said we feel very pride because this is such a beautiful product which is doing a really wonder in the industry. Installed, even the line not supplied by us, supplied by others, and others means all the reputed supply. In fact, this kind of the privilege this product line has got, and this is diagonally polar. Okay, we depending on this current market change, market has become very ambitious nowadays, mainly on the operating cost, because that is the kind of the recurring cost for any of the plant. And the expectation of the customer is not only limited to the reduce the cost, or let's say like improve the operating cost. That is also for the improving the quality, and that quality is not only to match the international standard. Even expectation has gone more beyond to that kind of the standards, you know. And that results very tight tolerance. The Danley has developed this technological package which may offer, you know, the complete solution for the entire wiping area. That includes the jet air knife, also the closed loop coating control. We can see here also in the circle. Then robotics for the zinc cross skimming. Then a strip to knife distance measurement to even improve the, let's say, like the automatic operation of this machine. And then we have also our Danley electromagnetic strip stabilizer that further improve the product quality and also stabilize the strip inside the air knife. I will not go in much detail, but just I will try to highlight what is the specialty in the design and for this equipment. Design of the air knife rigs. Design is not like made on some theory and all. For that, we have really spent very quality time in the research and development lab to develop this internal design. And in this design, we can see we are taking all the air suction from this red area, and we have the first set of the calibration hole here. All air is going out here, doing all kind of the turbulence, and again passing through the second set of the calibration and allowing all air to get expand and get stabilized by removing all the turbulence, making more laminar. Then third set of the calibration holes here, and after that we have very special design here which has been developed by thorough research and research made in the laboratory and also making all the fluid dynamic study to measure the behavior, analyze the behavior of the airs which is going to wipe the coating. And this is the result of that is this special design, and that is like, you know, the main concept which we have used in this is wiping coating control on the strip is the similar of the activities like cutting the piece of meat with the sharp knife. If your knife is very sharp, it is going to cut piece of the meat, even the vegetable. Okay, I'm being vegetarian, I will say vegetable is very smooth and very sharp, very clean, you know, cutting. If your knife is not sharp, it can be anything. So the similar concept is applicable here. When a strip is going after taking the zinc, if my wiping is going to with the very sharp air, it's going to very smooth and well controlled. So that is the logic. So red sign, if you see in the curve, is showing like the air which we are getting after this lip is more sharp and having bit more pressure, I will say. Which we achieved, I will take just one example of the revamping project which we have made in the North America. It is basically in ArcelorMittal plant, and the purpose of that plant was not saving the zinc, which is of course one of the key benefits for this airline. They have upgraded that line to improve the product quality, and before the upgradation they were making 1.7% of the rejection, let's say like second production, due to the wiping effect, due to the wiping defect basically. Okay, after implementing our air knife, we improved the quality from 1 point, let's say like rejection, from 1.57 to 0.53% only. And if you see the percentage, it has been improved by 66% on the reduction of the defect. This is the improvement in the quality. And if you go into more detail, you can see the what kind of the defect which they were getting in their existing line. And after all, making some analysis on this parameter, we saw like we have benefit of let's say like $600,000 per year because of this improvement. Another benefit, which is really very important for the air knife, is the saving energy. Depending on the customer, we have both the benefits. Sometimes quality issues is more effective for their solution, sometimes G, depending on their product mix and their operating practices. With that design, which I explained a couple of minutes back, we improved the overall speed by 10%. Means for the same coating, we increase the line speed, for the result in the improvement in the productivity. And we, for the same speed, we reduce the, let's say like coating weight by 15%. Because this means getting the low coating at the highest speed is the key challenge for any of the galvanizing. And overall, considering this impact, we analyze on the production cost. So we saw like 1.5% reduction in the production cost. I just made one analysis for one galvanizing line of 200,000 ton per annum. With these assumptions, I can say like we have another saving of 1 million of euro per annum. Again, depending on the product mix, but if you make air knives together with the complete package of air knife together with quality and the zinc saving, so ROI of this machine is close to 1 year only. In addition to that, we have also another beautiful package by Dynamic Automation. We call it zinc dross skimming robot. You can see in the video at right side. And the purpose of when we started this robot application was mainly the safety of the personnel, and it started from Europe. But eventually, we realized this is not only for the safety of the operator; it can also improve the let's say like the cost, because when operator is going to do the dross skimming, he's just going on the top of the pot and taking all possible dross and moving it out from the pot. But by using the machine, it is fixed on the position with all the flexibilities to roam around, let's like move around to cover the entire pot top area. It's take from there and check it out there, and it allows to goes all molten metal inside the pot, only taking out the dross. It's improved a lot on the operating cost, mainly in the reduction of the dross quantity. And eventually we realized the ROI for this machine is even less than 1 year, sometime 6 months if it is pure galvanizing line with let's say like with adverse atmosphere. Going ahead, we have another technological package. It is skin pass mill. Everybody has the same configuration. Everybody is selling 4i with the same instrument, same configuration, same philosophy. But I can say the performance is absolutely different for our machine. And there are many plants in the world who has been supplied by our competitor, but the skin pass mill, air knife, and tension leveler was supplied by us because they are already so popular for their performance. Similarly, it is for tension leveler. We have some feature here just to make the entire process of opening, closing of this leveler in closed loop. We have some additional sensor like absolute encoder and transducer and all. But again, is the same philosophy. We have sold this machine to many of our competitors, and also it is capable to deliver a very excellent result. And in India itself, there are many plants which are. I think I arrived to the last technological package for. In fact, there are many, but I try to choose only which is more let's say like relevant to this webinar, and also which we are able to sell to the market as a package. Not there are many technology, many things to talk in the cold rolling complex. Last one is that Fata Hunter coater. Fata Hunter is our business unit, which basically looks after the entire color coating line for worldwide market. And the Fata is let's say like another business units are let's say like having the different technology which always gives the pride, because all the old stacked coating machine was invented by them long back, and which when its patent got expired, it has been copied by others. But now we have another patent by them because they are again so well organized and doing a very extensive research all the time to improve the overall line performance. Going into the detail for any of the curve coating, line coating is the main machine, and they have this single slide design which we can see here in the picture. In the picture, the red one you can see it is like load cell just installed on each rolls, and everything is installed on the only single slide. So only one cylinder is going to actuate for the, let's say, like engage or disengage, and for the adjustment of the knee pressure between each area, let's say like a strip back up to applicator to pick up and pick up to metering is going to happen with this servo drive. The benefit which it has got because of this design, when we are going to adjust the load according to your coating tolerance or strip dimensions, the hysteresis between the forces are negligible basically because of this design. The reason which I can explain you maybe a bit. I missed the slide, but okay, I can explain. The reason, if I draw the hysteresis in this case and also the stack design, the delta deviation of the forces in this coater design is only 6 pound instead of the conventional stack design 120. 120 pound pressure itself is able to, let's say like not control up to the 2 micron of the coating thickness. So if I compare this machine with the conventional, we are able to achieve saving of the 2 micron coating. It means because of the tolerance, it means if your user is asking for, let's say like 20 micron of the coating on the top side, and somewhere you are ranging between 90 to 21. Less coating, nobody will accept maybe, but you are operating from 20 to 22 because to achieve 20. But in this case, if you're targeting 20, maybe 20.5, that's it, maybe 21. So that kind of the accuracy in this machine of basically in this technology, we are able to make 2 micron of the saving in the coating thickness. And if you calculate this thickness in the paint consumption for every ton, for every day, for every year, it is again huge saving for the plant people, or let's like a producer. And again, if I talk about ROI for these products, is again going to be less than 1 year, and rest life is going to be the benefit for the customer. With all these things, I would like to conclude, and I would say like Danelli in India is a well-established company for not limited to the cold rolling products, all the products of Danelli basket, and with the very strong team in India itself, and in last I would say like Danelli is a very reliable and innovative partner in the metal industry, all our customer worldwide. Thank you so much for your kind listening. Probably I was a bit longer, but I think I made some sense for this time to all of you. Thank you so much, Nimelda, and on all the audience and our honorable panelists. Thank you so much for your kind listening.
Thank you, Mitreshwar. Thank you so much. Thanks for covering the entire portfolio so well. And as you know, the workshops in Danelli are very close to my heart because I have been to 3 of the workshops, one in Rayong in Thailand, Danelli Forest, one in Butrio, and the other one in Sri City. So these 3 workshops, I can tell everyone with confidence that they are of equal standard, equal fabrication facilities, equal quality of machining. So a product which comes out of Butrio headquarters is as good as the fabrication which is done at Sri City. And all 3 workshops look the same. They are absolutely sparkling clean workshops where enough of machining is available. And as a part of Atmanirbhar Bharat, I think it was Danelli's very good strategy to put up a workshop in Sri City. So with that,
this is the vision of our honorable chairman. You know, he has seen this entire moment, I will say 15 years back, and the concept which Danelli was implementing for the in-house manufacturing, it was started during 2000, And 2000 to 2015, they are working on this vision only.
Right. And only thing which I feel a little bad about is Andhra Pradesh government has not done enough to develop Sri City, because Sri City has more potential than what it is today.
Yeah.
You see, all the big names are there in Sri City. Many of the big names are there. But the infrastructure development around Sri City is something where Andhra Pradesh government should have given some more attention. I hope in the days to come that will be taken care of, and the roads, the internal roads, and these things need to be improved. That's all. Otherwise, it's a fantastic location.
Yeah.
3 hours drive from Chennai airport. So it has a lot of potential. So with that, we'll move on to another player in the market who can claim to have made us Atmanirbhar, because Yogiji DG, they have also contributed a lot towards this segment, executed quite a few orders. And as a part of the Atmanirbhar initiative, Yogiji DG has a lot to perform. Now, Ankit, before I request Mr. Navneet Singh Gill to go ahead, may I request you to play the presentation of Yogi DG?
Yeah.
Thank you, Ankit. Will then now let's have the Yogi GDG portfolio and their contribution towards this segment. Over to you, Mr. Navneet Singh. And once again, thank you for sponsoring this event. Over to you, Navneet ji.
Thank you very much, Nirmala ji, for letting me present here. And thank you for a nice introduction. And good afternoon, everybody. So I'm Navneet from Yogiji DG. So we are the leading supplier of flat steel processing equipment in the country today, with biggest market share. And the road to what we have achieved today has been a bumpy ride, but we have stuck to our mantra of supplying world-class equipment at affordable cost. You know, the Indian market is very challenging, as we always strive to reduce costs, be it our Mangalyaan, our Mars space mission, or any day-to-day purchase in our life. But cost reduction was mistaken as quality compromise by many equipment manufacturers. And that is where we lost credibility, and investors were looking out of the country for quality equipment. But we in the last decade have been able to break that conception. And we are able to build trust among investors that good quality can be affordable with out-of-the-box concepts, and of course, a little dedication and a lot of hard work. We are proud to say that the produce of each of our equipment, be it cold rolled steel or coated steel, is competing against most trusted brands in the market. And they are compelled to ask, who is this new supplier and how can he manage to do this. This pandemic has changed the world, and everyone is looking for alternatives and thinking about made in India goods. And look, guys, we already make in India for the world. And we not only supply new equipment, but we also specialize in revamp and upgrades. We have replaced the old DC drive systems on many cold mills with the new AC drives for energy saving, with payback periods less than a year. We have also replaced the traditional length-based automatic gauge control systems with our revolutionary time-based AGC system, which results in at least 3% more yield. And we have also modified the mills to produce thinner and thinner gauges and special steels. The knowledge gained from these revamps and upgrades goes into the design of our new mills and has enabled us to develop green cold rolling mills, which not only offer more pass reduction and better strip shape, but also environment-friendly technology, which saves around 3.2 million liters of water on each mill every year and save 356 tons of CO2 emissions year on year. We are also proud to claim that we have been maintaining our record of producing first coil saleable with all quality tests approved up to our latest installations, that is our GI line at Gaurang Products in Ghaziabad and the GL line at Jagdamba Steel in Nepal. With the government's PLI scheme on offering, I foresee many standalone color coating lines coming up in this country. I think the entrepreneurs establishing these standalone lines don't have to worry about big players like JSW or Tata, and it goes same for the big players also. And I say so because the big companies will have to and always focus on production, but there is a substantial demand for small quantity custom coated steel, which can be created by these small lines installed to fulfill the localized color and pattern choices. Color lines will have to be seen as service centers in the future. With India looking to produce and consume 300 million tons of steel by 2030, there would be plenty of business for everyone. And it is good to see that we have inspired other indigenous equipment manufacturers to widen their offerings, which would result in creation of a big talent pool in the country to support the cause of achieving this 300 million target even earlier. Thanks a lot. That's all for today. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Thank you very much, Mr. Singh, for a very concise and short address. So we will now move on to our next speaker. We have Mr. Bhavesh Babaria. He's the head of technical applications from ATS Techno. Over to you, Mr. Babaria.
Yeah. It's visible? Hello?
Yes, we can see the slide. Yes.
Hello. Good evening, everybody.
Mr. Babaria, there is some background noise coming from your mic.
Just. Hello. Yeah. Now okay.
No, it is still there, but I think, yeah, it is better now.
Okay. No problem. Yeah. Good evening, everybody. Actually, we are not from the steel manufacturer. We are supporting to steel industry. Actually, we are protecting the steel industry roles by the type management of the surface protection of steel rolls by the various type of coatings, because we know that each and every component, each and every machinery have a wider role of production as well as the quality. If one component, one part, one roll is damaged, so we deteriorate with the quality of the sheet as well as the machine life as well as the production. So here we give the solution to how to enhance of the life of the such type roles when we get the quality issue. Firstly, we start with our trend. ATS started in 1992. We have 20 years experience with the manufacturing and surface coating. We ISO 9001 2015 certified company. We have a Japanese collaboration with Tokalo Company Limited. Also, we providing our service to steel industry, paper, hydro, and many industry for their the damaged component to get the good life. Also, we have full-fledged facility of the roll manufacturing from diameter 50 mm to 1.5 meter into 7 meter long. We have an in-house roll manufacturing, repairing, refurbishment, chrome plating, and coating facility at our Ahmedabad plant. We have an in-house testing lab because each and every coating, each and every repairing needed some testing. So we have in-house testing lab. We are providing our service to major players in the Tata Steel, JSW Group, AMS, Bhushan Steel, now in JSW, Uttam Steel, Jaiswal Nepo, and many more with their all the roll component. Also, we supplying our service to OEM like the CMI, SMS, SMAX steel plant, and also include the UPG. In our in-house, there are the certain testing parameters. We have qualified engineers. If say we procure the raw material, and after the procuring, we do chemical mechanical test by anywhere lab, because all the mechanical test and chemical is necessary for the good quality of the rolls. We also check the UT check by STM3 quality inspector. Also, we do the LPT test. Also, we do the roll profile measuring instrument for checking the roll profile and flatness, because each and every rolls have the flatness. Their profile is very important because the profile is the good shape of the sheet and the good quality of the sheet. Also, we check the material hardness test, coating bond strength, digital coating thickness, as well as surface roughness. These all are the parameters we maintain during our coating and the manufacturing stage. Here are our unit. We have 2 units in the Katwara in Ahmedabad. Here are one of the manufacturing unit and one of the only the grinding and coating unit. If say in our coating units, we have a automatic robotic system which gave the good quality of the coating on the roll. There are the maintain the such type of the parameter like the coating thickness, coating roughness, coating hardness. We get the even because we are doing the control close robotic coating system. This is our blasting unit. Before the coating, we need the blasting. So we get the uniform surface roughness because the roll have the surface roughness, very important role. If there are the peak and valley, if there are the high roughness, high peak, then the peak will get impact on our quality of the sheet. We have this grinding machines. We have a roll grinder machine from the Germany. It's 2 meter by the 10 meter long. This automatic online dimension measurement device. If say there are online dimension measurement as well as the run out and this parallelity we check during the grinding stage. So in one loop we check run out. There are the grinding surface. There are the parallelity. We get the report in our device. The another machine, Hercules machines, 1000 into 5 meter long. We generally this machine used for the roll grinder of the furnace roll, the sink rolls like that. We have CNC based machines. Also, we have IMAMEC machines, is induction hardening machines, because we are manufacturing the rolls with the induction hardening. This capacity is 500 into 5 meter long with a forged materials. So each and every rolls we depend on their requirement. We do the induction hardening. This aniline furnace, we have 2 aniline furnace. Also, we have a hard chrome plating plant. It's 1.3 into 5 meter long length. So we have a on hard chrome plating plant. We have a Japanese collaboration. Say it's the Tokalo Company Limited. It's the Tokalo. We had signed the agreement 2006 with the Tokalo for the transfer of the thermal coating rolls. Agreement covered coating application steel industry only. More than 70% of the steel plant worldwide are using the Tokalo coating technology, because each and every rolls have different coatings. So Tokalo is to provide the powders technology to how to perform the well, how to get the good quality of the roles. Tokal has technical license in US, China, Europe, Asia. Tokal have own R&D lab have developed more than 1,000 metal alloy for the thermal spring, because each and every role have different application, different criteria. So there are different material. So we use the material depend on their application. Also, Tokalo is give the 2 times training sessions, take training of the ATS technician in Japan. Also, Tokalo comes in Japan, give the training to technicians, audit of the ATS vendor by Tokalo engineer, training in equipment, supply of the proprietary materials, and transfer of the coating process. No, now they are the two way. We are producing the rolls like CRM lines, HSM lines, pellet plant, and WRM in the bar mill. Generally, in the CRM lines, we are producing the rolls like ACBR, backup roll, tighter, means all the process rolls with a special coating like hard chrome plating, like ceramic coating, like tungsten carbide coatings. So all type of rolls we fabricated at our Ahmedabad job shop. The capacity 50 mm to 1.5 meter die up to the die we manufacturing the facility at our Ahmedabad plant. Also, we supply the roll with 100% assembled rolls. Like we can see, there are the roll manufacturing. There are some of the frames, bearing housing, motors. So all together, we provide rolls, assembled rolls to customer in single load. Recently, we produced one Abracode coating system with excellent replacement of the hard chrome plating. Hard chrome plating is traditional, but we produced this Abracode with excellent technology, which launched in the India in January 2019. Abracode is excellent replacement technology for hard chrome plating, which give hard and ductile coating. Abracode nearby gives 3 times more life compared to hard chrome plating rolls. It's very dense coating, is very high bond strength, more than 12,000 psi, which is more than the double of the hard chrome plating. High density with a low porosity, hence improve the corrosion barrier, because it's a very low porosity, 0.05% porosity in the our coatage. So it gives 100% the corrosion barrier. It's an environmental friendly alternative to electro hard chrome plating, because electric hard chrome plating is a hot dipping process, there are acidic process, but here is not any acidic process. So it's 100% is the environmental friendly. Zero oxide content in the coating, so no oxidations, because it's the very low porosity. Due to high hardness, high surface hardness, improve the wear resistant property, because it's a wear resistant property is very necessary. Mainly this application we apply all roofer section as well as the process roll. If see, there are the microstructure of this chrome plated is Abracode process. In chrome plated, if say there are nothing bonding layer. This is base material, this chrome plating. In chrome plating, there are the many micro cracks. So very easily to peel off from the base material. But here, if you can see, the Abracode microstructure is 100% penetrated with the base material and not any single micro crack. So we get the good life. Is no chance of the peel off of the coating from the base material. So we run our roll very longer time without any quality deteriorate. Now the see the application of the port application. In the port, mainly we focus on the sink roll, step roll, as well as the snout. You can see in the sink roll, there are the sink roll is the heart of the CGL lines, because in the sink path is very if sink roll is not performing well, all the defects shine in the our seat. So sink roll coating is necessary because we get the good life. There are the general phenomena, general process. Once incoming the sink roll, like the lot of zinc speaking on the roll, we do pickling, remove all the zinc in our picking bath, then the machining, then the grinding. There are certain tests like the dimensions, DP test, runout check. After that, there are micro growing in the CNC turning machine, because grow is necessary for grow is a vital role of the sink rolls for getting the good quality. Then blasting, face coating, coating by 100% robotic coating, so we get the good light, good microstructure, good the thickness. After that, we are doing the sealing process for no sticking of the zinc on the roll surface, because if after the coating, if not doing this type process, then may absolutely we get the zinc sticking on the roll surface. But we do this non-sticking sealing process. So zinc is not sticking on the roll surface and get the good life. It's not any single throat stick on the roll surface. Minor is there, but there are the by the scraper and by the this scotch brite we remove very easily. Advantage is why we see there are the tungsten based ceramic coatings with higher hardness which give good abrasion resistance at elevated temperature against steel sheet. If see there are the advantage is improve operation life, we improve our component, better thermal shock resistant property. So if once you can put the in hot condition directly you put out, then the not any thermal shock. So it's not a below the coating, not a deteriorate of the coating quality. Non-adhesion of zinc dot on the coated surface, no fishtail mark and scratch mark reflect transfer on the sheet. Improve end sheet quality and finish product quality. Prolong CGL cycle campaign, hence reduce maintenance and downtime of the CGL line. Because this downtime is higher than our ultimate factor to our this production. So sink roll is give our coating is give the good life. So is continue the prolonged CGL cycle, not remove the roll from the bath and again do the probings and the grooving, grinding. Also, we each and everything saving by this coating. It's during after this coatings we also reduce our the sink roll consumption, because once without coating if we take the rolls, we do groovings, we do grinding, so each and every cycle we remove 5 to 6 mm our roll cell. But once the coating is done, then the no need to groove, no need to grind. The roll running the very long time is a good company life, so we get the good quality. So we save our sink roll quantity also. If we see in the mechanical coating property after the application is that thermal shock resistance tested 40 times, dipping in 1 hour at 600 degrees Celsius. In 600 degrees Celsius to ambient temperature. So not any effect, not any problem in the coated surface, because we see in the bath temperature nearby 450 in the galvanized line. It's non-reaction with the zinc, high density, so no porosity, coating hardness 1100 to 1350 HP is good hardness, bone strength more than 10,000 psi, so not easily peel off from the roll surface. And after the coating, generally we get the surface roughness 4 to 6 micron. It's very good for our sink roll. Also, we supply the sink roll sleeve and boost with the special coated. In the application of the furnace section, also in the furnace also is the very hard, it's say the heart of the our CGL lines. If there are the furnace roll, any small material pick up on the furnace roll, then the same is reflect over the quality of the sheet. So we throw the line and the cool down, they're taking a lot of time. So downtime is very high. So we give the non-stick coatings of the sink roll like ceramic based coating, which give the non-stick property against picking of the material on the roll, which give the ultimate life. So no downtime and give the good quality. This general process, incoming, pre-inspection, machining, DP test, grinding, choke test, DP test, blasting, robotic coatings. And after that, we check the roll profile. It's the profile meter, because each and every furnace roll has different profiles. There are the narrow body profile, single body profile, flat profile. So we check, we make the roll in the grinding. This record the profile and the one confirm after the final inspection. Whatever get the profile is good. Also, we do in situ roll profile measurement, because in the it's a prediction of the roll life. Any furnace roll, if we remove from the plant, from the furnace to their time taking job, and it's not assumption of the time. So we have a starting in the in situ roll profile measurement, and there the element. This in situ condition, we go inside the furnace with our instrument. We check the roll profile. If any profile deteriorate, there are the after the checking of the profile, there are the profile graph which show there are the how much profile deteriorate and how many times it may run. It may remove from the 2 months, 3 months, or 5 months. We get the exact idea once we check this profile. So we have do this type of profile mainly in the Tata Steel, the JCPCPL, as well as the JSW. We also do coating in the tension mandrel segment for getting a good gripping life, because There are the most of chances of the slippages. So we give the coating which give good slippage against the slippage. We give the good roughness which give the ultimate no slippage on the segment. Also, we do the process roll coating like in bridal, deflector, tensiometer, pinch roll, top roll, and the metal. If say this is the CGL top roll, there are the size 1.5 meter, 0.2 meter. Special coating given TS 10713 Tokawa base coating, thickness 100 to 120 micron, and the surface finish after the coatings less than 0.4 micron. This coating, and after the coatings and the grindings, we get the surface of the mirror finish, because we know in the top roll after the zinc coat there are top roll, there are the some problem of the sticking of the material. So we give the non-stick property of the coating, so no zinc sticking on the sheet and not any affected to our final product. Also, we are converting the hard-chrome plated roll to mainly tungsten carbide coating, because hard-chrome plating gives the life of 6 months, 7 months, or maybe 1 year. But again, there are the tungsten carbide coating will give the 2.4 more times. Also, after the tungsten carbide coating, improve end-sheet quality, excellent runnability, so no slippage during the running, reduce maintenance cost, because we know if the once the roll is removed, then there are time 2 to 3 days time, or 1 or 2 hours time. So once the coating do the tungsten carbide coatings, we get the good life. So not easily the material this coating pillow from the roll surface is excellent wear resistant, and the surface finish is longer time. External process is our coat process like nano check, pre-grinding, blasting, this coating, post grinding, and this mirror finish. Also, we converting the pure coated roll to tungsten carbide coating, because pure coated rolls maybe have some thickness is there, but once there are the peel of the pure coating, the same mark reflecting on the our sheet. So we generally converted pure coated to tungsten carbide coating with special sealant application. Generally, pure coated thickness 10 mm, but we suggest 100 micron, surface 3.2, which is nearby that. 5 to 6 micron is because give the good slippage resistant property. After the pure coating, hardness 52, but after the coatings get the 68 to 78 charges. So higher hardness, so not easily remove the material, is give the longer life. Advantage is increase 2.2 times life, no cut mark on surface, improve end-sheet quality, no slippages, reduce maintenance cost, reduce downtime, and excellent wear resistance against the surface finish. This is the old means remove the old coatings. After this is the coated, this is coated surface. Thank you very much for the yes.
Thank you, Mr. Bavaria. Bhaveji, thank you so much.
Yeah,
if there are any questions, I think there is a question for Mr. Lala from Mr. Shamal Kumar Sinha. Ankit, can you upgrade? Can you upgrade Mr. Sinha, because he wants to ask Mr. Lala a question. Ankit, can you upgrade Mr. Sinha to the panel so that?
So yeah, Mr. Sinha, I have given you permission, so you can unmute and ask the question.
Mr. Lala.
Mr. Lala, are you there?
Yes, very much here. Yes.
Sir, your presentation was very nice. Can I get your presentation to my email address for my personal interest?
Yeah, no problem. We will share, no problem.
Okay. Yeah, if you share with me, I'll share with you, Mr. Sinha. No problem.
Thank you.
Okay, so I will share Mr. Mukherjee, then Mukherjee will share to you. No problem. We'll share.
Thank you.
Yeah, right. Anything?
Any question for the Daneli presentation? Because Mithileshwar has left and he has asked me to convey that. And if anyone is interested to ask a question to Daneli, you can ask your question to him directly. I'll share his mobile number with you. His mobile number is 833-400-52. So Ankit, I'm just sharing the number in the Q&A section or in the chat section, and you can share it with the others. Or is it better that I share it in the Q&A?
Yeah, you can type it in the Q&A. Yeah, in the meantime, I think we can move on to
yeah, you can move on. Yeah.
Yeah, so we have a request from Mr. T. Kumaresan. He actually has to has another meeting in 15 minutes. So with your kind permission, Mr. Mehrotra, if we can put Mr. T. Kumaresan before, so that he can give his address before his next meeting.
Well,
Mr.
Ankit,
Kumar, yeah,
Ankit, I have to also leave. So what I'll do, I'll tell Chetan to present this, because I also have a tight schedule. I have to leave also. Okay. So I'll request Chetan to please make the presentation after that. No problem.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your understanding, because Mr. Kumaresan, first of all, he agreed in a short notice to be with us. Virtually, you can say 24 hours notice he was with us. And the second important thing is, we always say the customer is the king, because Mr. Kumaresan is buying a lot of roofing sheets. He's buying a lot of material from the steel industry. So without him, the steel industry would be nowhere. So he's a customer, and a customer is always the king. He's buying, a lot of steel. He's a major buyer of steel for the steel plants itself. So he buys the steel and puts it back in the steel plant, and building those sheds that you see of our every steel plant. The workshops that you see are all thanks to L&T. So, Mr. Kumaresan, the floor is yours, and thanks for joining us once again. You are there for two of our webinars earlier also. So this is another opportunity for us to have you on board, and a warm welcome to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nirmalya ji. Thank you so much for your nice introduction, and Mr. Rajesh, thank you so much for accommodating me for this, pre-funding this discussion. I'm sorry because I had based on the schedule that I'm going to have a meeting with one of my customer at 6:30, and thanks a lot. Having said that, dignitaries on the panel, fellow panelists, and the audience who has connected through this webinar, very good evening to everyone. It's my privilege to be invited as a panelist for this webinar, technology, market and applications of cold rolling, galvanizing and coated products. On behalf of Larsen & Toubro, I thank organizer of this meet, Steel and Metallurgy. My name is T. Kumaresan. I am leading the minerals and metals business of Larsen & Toubro. I have more than 3 decades experience in L&T. My business unit, Minerals and Metals, provide one-stop solution for our customers. Right from the raw material, we beneficiate the ore, and till that finished product, which includes hot rolling mill as well as cold rolling mill in a steel plant. In aluminium, we do both upstream and downstream, which includes refinery, smelters and downstream mills, and copper and zinc, and all that across the value chain. We provide build the plant for our customers. Having said that, when I build a plant for my customer and the EPC contractor, and as Mr. Nirmalya rightly said, we are one of the largest consumer of steel as well as galvanized steel, and also these color coated and cold rolling coils and these materials. When I talk about the steel producing, which is that from there by next to the subsequent downstream process of cold steel or cold rolling or galvanized, the way that the steel is produced, all of you are well aware today that the buzzword is ESG and sustainability. Recently, last week, that in Germany, the first coil produced by not using the fossil fuel with hydrogen has been introduced, and this is going to change the landscape of this metal industry, which is working towards this ESG, which is environmental, society, and sustainability and governance. So having said that, when it comes cold rolling mill, we used to take a lot of uptake for the color coated sheets for the providing the coverage set for be it an infrastructure project, be it industrial plants, we consume those things. And when it comes that galvanized steel, we extensively use this galvanized steel for our transmission line towers in our factories. And of late that there has been a lot of emphasized by railways to use the galvanized rails for their in some of the railway tracks, and especially in the dedicated freight corridors. This has been being used. And when it comes to coated paints and coated protective coatings, I would like to emphasize upon here that in one of the project, one of the customer that I'm right now doing is the plant which is 20 years old plant, and the plant has been in the western coast of the area where the corrosion is so much. A lot of protective coatings that our engineering team with this the paint manufacturers, especially they produce certain paints which can last for longer time in a corrosive environment. That's I can tell you that really it is working very well. And I would also make use of this forum to appeal the technologists who are also here, that going forward the kind of the cold rolling mill which is coming up, especially in that steel sector. And I also foresee that a lot of downstream projects, especially in the aluminium, is going to come up. And the kind of I was going through some of the presentations made by these technologists, and we are also there to serve that the technologist as well as this EPC builder both can work together and to provide a long-lasting solutions to our customer, so that we bring the value to the customer, and we work towards the meeting those ESG requirements. When it comes to digitalization, we also do a lot of digital work in the right from the plant building till the end use. We have been all our design engineering setup has been we have been using the state of art of softwares, which not like Aveva and all during the design stage, which also provides our customer not only during that operation time that the required data, and also giving helping them in doing their maintenance. And we do undertake a lot of modularization and digital services. Our entire construction sites are digitally driven, right from the entry of the workman to that when they move till they move out, the productivity monitoring, and also that the project monitoring through BIM model and all, everything we have done. And from this forum, that the technology innovations, whatever is happening and all the disruptions, what is happening in the industry, and we are fully aware, and as an EPC builder, we are with the customer to provide the best possible solution for Lavarant. With this, I once again thank you, the organizers, for giving me an opportunity to speak in this esteemed forum, and thank you so much, Nirmalya ji.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Kumaresan. And I see that Mr. Mehrotra is still here, so maybe he has time to say a few words before handing it over to Mr. Chetan Prakash. So just to introduce them, Mr. Rajesh Mehrotra is the Managing Director of Berger Becker Coatings Private Limited, and Mr. Chetan Prakash is the VP R&D Berger Becker Coatings India Private Limited. So thank you, Mr. Kumaresan, for a very concise and a very nice address. And I would now hand over to Mr. Rajesh Mehrotra.
Yeah.
Mr. Mehrotra, let me thank you once again for
no problem.
For giving the customer some time. Because
Customers.
The more steel he buys, the better it is for you and me.
Absolutely.
Unless the material is sold, you can't sell your coating, and neither can I earn from my advertising from these companies.
Absolutely,
So-
I agree with you.
so,
And
yeah.
thank you, Nirmalda. Thank you, Steel Metallurgy. And very good evening to my fellow
Rajesh,
panelists.
just one point before you begin.
Yeah.
A part of your marketing has been done by Mr. Lala from Tata Steel BSL already, when he mentioned that they are your. I mean, you are their partners for Tata Steel. So
Yeah,
one Tata Steel endorses the brand is already sold.
Thank you. So nice
So
of
with that,
you.
it's over to you.
Thank you very much. So, well, the message which I wanted to give across, that I'm very excited. First of all, a big compliment to you, Nirmalada, as well Ankit, for really arranging a wonderful webinar and for bringing the fraternity together. Because I was really looking forward. I saw Pankaj Malhan after maybe a decade or something, and also so nice to see Arvind Lala and my friend Navneet and every panelist out here. So my best wishes to Steel and Metallurgy. Today, the topic, of course, what we wanted to speak, how to really support the rapid growth which is going to be there from now onwards to 2030, how to support the coated industry with a sustainable development. So with this, I will request my colleague Chetan Prakash to take you through the sustainable development, transforming the industry, what we can contribute. So thank you, Ankit. Thank you, Nimalada, and also all panelists. Over to you, Chetan, please.
Thank you, sir. First, share my screens. So, is my screen visible, Nimalda?
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Yes.
Okay. So, thank you, sir. I think I will just begin with this, that yes, as market leader in this coil coating field worldwide, I think we have a much more responsibility to bring these, as our MD said, sustainable technologies and sustainable development. And we are pleased to inform you that our joint venture partner, Becker Industrial Coaching, they have gone in for rolled out a sustainability strategy till 2030. And this is a very relevant topic when I think Mr. Lala also said a lot about the technology things that's happening. Pankaj said, so how to make it sustainable? That has been the objective, because in the end, we have only one planet and we have to make it a much better place to live in. Now, as far as sustainability is concerned, sustainability drives, directly from, let's look at it. Now, whenever I go home, the moment my car enters my, the gate, as soon as I enter the society gate, I don't know how my 10-year-old son, he immediately knows that I have come, and he jumps down from the third floor to greet me. And I'm also very happy to see him. So in the end, we are all working, isn't it, in some way for our children, or if you take it on a broader scale, for our coming generations. So we have to ensure that we make this world a much better place to live in. To me, sustainability is only this, that live and let live. We have to live and also ensure that our coming generation needs are not compromised. So this was the basis behind our parent company, Beckers, when they decided to go for this sustainable development or this sustainable strategy. This is driven by our values, which have been very strong customer focus. We are a total solution provider, and I think Pankaj has just left. Mr. Lala is still there. So we learn a lot from them. And that's our key thing, to give them total solution. It says that in Becker company, let's say, it's present across the globe, and sun never sets in Becker. That is, in some part of the world, some chemist is working, and we work very closely. And our objective is customer focus. Actually, in India, we came because Jindal British Steel was coming, so Becker just followed it. And of course, for us, flexibility, team spirit, trust, all these are very, very important things. And that from there, actually, our sustainability strategy has been derived. So this is based on the 4 sustainability principles, that whatever we draw from our earth crust has to be minimized. Our pollution is to be reduced, resource depletion has to be reduced, and we have to ensure that the human beings are taken care. They should be able to, make their needs met. That's the idea. So these are the 4 principles which Becker started, I think, 10 years back. We are also subscribed to GRI standards, and also EcoVadis. We working closely, closely with our supplier partners also. That means hum. We believe in hum. Okay, alone we cannot do anything. I think I was remembering. I think last few days back, I think we lost Sir Dilip Kumar. He was among the best actor, and I think I still remember one of his song that was from Naya Daur, which says "Saathi haath badhana, ek akela thak jayega, milkar kadam badhana." So we have to work with our partners, whether it's the customers or our suppliers. And that's why we always request that even our suppliers should be accessed by EcoVadis so that we work with like-minded people. Like I was very happy to listen to Mr. Lala when he was saying about a lot of sustainable things coming and then. So we are very happy to join hands. And I think he described that antibacterial paint that he developed with us. So thank you very much, sir, for mentioning that. And I would like to inform that we have now developed a paint which is anti-COVID also. And that has been approved by NFSU, which comes under Ministry of Home, Government of India. So that also is there. Again, whatever our strategy has been based on United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. There are 17 goals for poverty, for hunger, for development. So these are based on that. And of course, we are signatory to UN Global Compact, which are 10 commandments, again for environment, for pollution, for human rights, etc. And we are also signatory to that. So our sustainability goals are directly derived from those. And as we say, our sustainability goals, what we have done is, it has been basically classified to 3 streams. We believe that everything starts with people. The organizations are not built from brick and mortar, but from people. So for us, people are very important. And we have to keep not only our employees happy, but also our customers happy, all the stakeholders. In fact, we want ourselves to be recognized as a preferred employer. For that, there are definite strategies. Of course, the strategy tenure is till 2030, but it is being monitored every year, every month. Actually, every month I have to submit a report to my MD saying that this is what we have done, sir. And this is reviewed even at the president level at Asia. So that's the amount of focus the organization has on sustainability. Of course, the product, which are very important. We have to ensure that we do not use anything, as I said, those 4 sustainability principles, that earth crust things are to be reduced. They should not give pollution. They should not affect the health. So those things are there. They should not be toxic. But not only that, it should also have some functionality. For example, it could be energy saving, like what we developed antibacterial, and now of course we have developed anti-COVID thing. So this should help. That's the idea. It should have functionality as well, which should help our sustainability drive. And then of course our operation, we strive to get our carbon footprint very low. That's the idea. So we use those technologies. We reduce our waste. As Mr. Lala said, you repurpose it, reuse it, recycle it. So we are doing that. Also, our energies, we try to get it, from non-fossil fuel based energy sources. There are some energy sources like bio-based, which are totally carbon neutral. Then there is a solar energy. So we are focusing more and more on that. In fact, the idea is at some point, of course, in India, we don't have the ocean energy, but we believe now that ocean energy should also become live at some point. Of course, there's something called nuclear energy, but these have got already radiation, leakages and all, so they are dangerous. But in nuclear energy, I believe not in my lifetime, maybe next generation, we will be able to do something for fusion, wherein we can get energy from hydrogen and what available in abundance in this world. It's not possible today because of the technological limitations, but we believe at some point that also will be taken care. So that, and once that is done, the energy problem of this whole universe is solved. So there are very fixed goals, as I said. For human being, it has to be basically gender balance. So there is absolutely no discrimination here. And those people, I think, who work with us, they know that. Products, as I said, about 50% of our sales should be net sustainable. What it means is it should either be totally non-toxic, and not only that, it should have some functionality. And there we need the help of our partners, or customer partners, to help us. I think Mr. Lala is helping us a lot, where we can, able to sell net sustainable products. We had done a lot of things recently with them, like thermal control systems. They ran for us, or jointly we are working on that. Also anti-dirt. So a lot of products, I think, where our customers are helping us. also in other customers as well. But idea is whatever now we develop, from now on our R&D products should be 100% net sustainable. And sustainability could be good. Sustainability is not that it's definitely a cost for future, but you can do sustainability in a way that it can also be good for the current generation as well. Operations, as I said, the idea is to repurpose and also to reduce our carbon footprint, and also have suppliers which have a similar thinking as ours. Because as I said, it's only one planet that we have, and we have to manage it. I will discuss a brief because it was just 13 minutes which were allotted to us. So I will discuss about some of the product stream only this time. Thermal control system, which of course we have run in India successfully. And it gives 8 to 10 degrees comfort between outside and inside. It's based on the fact that the emissivity as well as reflectivity is very high. I mean, I will not go too much technical into it. It can go into hours and hours. But the idea is that reflectivity and emissivity is very, very high. So it actually looks like red in the visible region, but in the NIR region, it looks like white. And that's the technology behind it. So what you have to ensure is in the visible region, it looks red, green, blue, black, but in the NIR region, it should look like white. And that's the technology. That's what we learned from nature. Like you see in a green leaf in a summer is totally cool, but a green sheet could be anything. So you become white, but in the NIR region of solar spectrum. So I think Indian Green Building Council has approved our products as green products. And I think, as I said, our MD has a very severe focus on sustainability. So he was very happy when we got this certificate, and we keep getting it year after year. What it means for our customers is that when they use these products, which is Bactitherm PVDF or Bactitherm SDP, they get green points, very similar to what you get LEED points. High build system, again, they are very high durable system. And the idea for these systems is that the life is very long. So you don't have this maintenance free coating and then you save on your steel. You just apply it and nothing happens for 20-25 years. So these products are available, and we have done globally, they are well established. India also trials have been done. I think we have done one trial with Tata also. One of the other product, which is a new development, which I think in India we have still not run, but we will like to do it. That is basically light reflectance value, high light reflectance value products, wherein you have very high reflectivity, so that in the visible region, so that the light reflectance is very good. There is no glare. Even if there are visually impaired persons with lower eyesight, they also feel better. It looks very big area, and you have a lot of energy savings with that. Then these are the upcoming technologies running in many parts of the world. India, I think at the moment, we have had our tryst with NIR, with ISAR, I think, or now ArcelorMittal, I think. That line had NIR over at one point, and they were the pioneers. So then now these technologies, NIR, UV, E-beam are there, in which you can have almost solvent-less coatings. So that's also possible. So with this, I think I would like to thank you all, and it's open to any questions that you could have.
Any questions? So, Ankit, any question in the Q&A section?
No new questions.
So you see how important is sustainability. It's totally unquestioned championship. No questions about that.
Yeah, that's what has kept the front runners going, because when you talk of sustainability, you talk for tomorrow. And the leader's job, the leader in the market, whether leader in the industry or leader of the country, the job is to always think of tomorrow, not today. So with that, we'll move on to, thank you, Mr. Chetan Prakash. We'll now move on to our I think, the last speaker of the day.
Correct. Yeah.
And the farthest. I mean, the only speaker from Europe, Mr. Stefan Merin.
Yes.
Stefan,
yes.
you are
You hear me?
there. You are there from France, and my son is there, very close to you in Germany.
Okay. In Germany. Okay.
In the, I don't know if you know, in the city of Magdeburg. My son is hosting this from the city of Magdeburg, which is very close to Berlin. And I would say he's closest to you from all of us here.
So I think, Mr. Mukherjee, from there to go to India, you can go through Paris, huh? Come to visit us.
Yes.
On the way, each of you.
And I'm sure you'll have a good glass of French wine to offer him.
Yeah, sure.
My son is a connoisseur of good wine.
Yeah, sure.
So he loves the best of wines in the world. So I'm sure he's going to enjoy a good glass of wine before he leaves back for India. Now, before I move on to you, let me tell you, a last is not always the least. So maybe just by chance you are the last, but you are definitely most important for all of us today, because FIVS is a very important player in this industry. And traditionally, I have enjoyed a very good relationship from the earlier Tara Shankar Palit, who is the present managing director of FIVS in India, is a very good friend of mine. So is the earlier MD before that. In fact, Mr. Ashok Pan was the managing director before Mr. Palit. They're all my very good friends. So I have shared a very good, and Mr. Brozels, who was the country manager for India, is also a very good friend of mine. So I have enjoyed a very good relationship with FIVS. And just before I move on to you, let me tell you, this is our 30th webinar that we are doing in the series. This is since the pandemic began last year. We started with a series of webinars, and today is the 30th webinar. And we have a series of webinars coming up for the next of the year till March 2022, when we will move on to physical conferences, possibly if there is no third wave of the pandemic. So with good wishes to all the panelists here and those who are listening both on YouTube and on Zoom Live, a warm welcome to Mr. Stefan Merin.
Thank you.
Ujo, and floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mukherjee. Thank you very much, all of you. I would like to thank you first to give me the opportunity today to introduce you some of the latest technologies of FIV in the field of strip processing lines. Good evening, everyone, dear panelists and audience. And I will start by presenting 2 slides about FIV so that the ones who are not familiar with the group can see where we are active in. And then I will move on my presentation. So, can you see the presentation full screen?
No, yes. It is not full screen. You have to just go on to the slideshow option. Yeah, now it's full screen. Yes.
It's full screen? Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. So, so let me start with presenting FIV. FIV is an international engineering group, which is headquartered in Paris, France. And we are in the marketplace for more than 200 years. We are supplying machines and production lines for different industries. We are not involved only in steel. Steel, of course, is one of our main business lines, but we are supplying machines and equipment, process equipment in the areas, in industries where we believe that with innovative technologies, we can bring added value to our customers and to their product life cycle time. In steel, we are active since 150 years of history. We are also present in India largely for different kinds of industries, not only in steel, but also in energy, automotive, in combustion. And we have several entities in FIV in India. The main ones for steel are in Calcutta, our main subsidiary company involved in the steel equipment for heat furnaces and strip processing lines. And we have a combustion manufacturing, design and manufacturing workshop company in India as well to support our projects in India and also elsewhere. In the field of steel and our steel and glass division combined together, just to give you a view about the range of products that we have, we supply reheat furnaces in hot rolling mills, we supply cold rolling mills, and we have a full range of strip processing lines for carbon steel, silicon steel, and stainless steel markets. We are also involved in tube mills and tube finishing lines and glass equipment float lines, which are a separate division. So let me go to highlight some of the main latest technologies that we have developed in the field of strip processing lines, mainly for high-end lines and automotive lines, which is we call neo-coil strip processing lines, galvanizing lines, and continuous annealing lines. And I will start with a short introduction. A short introduction, which actually will echo the excellent presentation of Mr. Lala about the product developments. I'm going to talk about these new grades, which are under development and under ramp up, I would say, industrial ramp up for the automotive sector, which are the advanced high strength steel, the Gen 3 advanced high strength steel, ultra high strength steel grades, which impact the process and which bring some challenging annealing cycle requirements. Higher annealing temperatures, much above what is practiced today, higher cooling rates, and other features. Other challenges are also there for the coatability of these kind of steels, where we have higher silicon or manganese alloy contents. So the coatability is also bringing some challenges in terms of production. In some other kind of lines, we can have diversity of coatings. We talked also about different kind of coatings, zinc coating, aluminum-based coatings, and so on. And that could bring some challenges in terms of technology, because we may have in one single galvanizing line, we have experience with up to 4 different coatings to be managed in one single line. And the last point, which is also very critical, surface quality, especially for exposed products. These are few of the main challenges that I would like to highlight here, but there are challenges about process and products, but also challenges about operation in terms of yield and flexibility of operation. The main reason is that today the range of grades and range of products in one single line is increasing, and that requires to have specific process parameters to be controlled, which can maybe different from one product to the other. And that, of course, impact or let's say bring requirements for additional flexibility of operation in the equipment. The other point, of course, is also this flexibility should be done without jeopardizing the quality of the product. So the productivity, let's say yield and prime quality first is very important. Of course, we take care of lowering emissions and waste generation into our lines. And the last but not least, to have a safe operation and maintenance on the lines. So basically, to respond to these new challenges, we have developed some process technologies, some new process technologies, which are listed here that I will go to overview afterwards in a processing line for, let's say, a galvanizing line or continuous annealing line, like direct fired flameless heating, radiant tube furnace heating and pre-oxidation, transverse flux induction heating, flash cooling means all kind of range of rapid cooling technologies within the furnace. And on top of the key technologies that which will allow to, let's say, where we push the limits of the existing technologies and allow to have a higher performance technologies, we need to have also smart digital solutions in order to get the best performance out of the equipment. So here we have also a range of digital solutions that we have developed and we offer into the market. The iron system, which is a real-time quality management over the whole steel plant, up to a smart line that I'm going to introduce to you in one slide, which is like an automatic pilot for a galvanizing line. Our view about the challenges and the way we have to respond and our mission statement into the market is not only about process technologies and digital solutions, but it's also about having the capability to support our customers in their development. So we have a specific dedicated team company within the steel division composed of metallurgists and people who are experts in operation, which has actual experience of operation and production of galvanized products, especially for automotive products, so that in case of it's required, we can support our customers in their steel grade developments for automotive products, high strength steels exposed up to Gen 3 or ultra high strength steels, but also support them in developing new advanced coatings like aluminum coatings or different kind of current new coatings which are introduced into the market. And on top of that, having the possibility to support our customers in the startup, ramp up of their new grades and fine tuning and getting the best out of their equipment. Now let's go to have an overview of these latest technologies for the newest grades which has been developed. The first one, in case, this is showing, you see galvanizing line with a vertical furnace for automotive products. And the first section inside the furnace could be a direct fired furnace. It's not mandatory. We have a lot of supplied a lot of lines with all radiant tube furnaces, but there are some criteria of choice that I have no time today to expand on, which will drive the selection of a direct fired furnace. In this case, because of the new advanced high strength steel, which requires, on top of heating the strip, requires to control the pre-oxidation or selective oxidation of the steel for the good coatability, we need to have a very uniform temperature heating and very uniform O2 distribution. And this is where we have developed a new flameless combustion system, which will allow to have a very, very uniform heating of the strip along this section. And also, as you can see, a very uniform oxygen distribution through the system, less than 0.1%, in order to get a very precise and even pre-oxidation of the strip. Of course, we have other design features to allow to reach this uniformity of temperature. And of course, using flameless combustion, we reach very low NOx emissions. This 40 ppm at 3% O2 is a record, let's say, benchmark today in the market. The next section, next technology that I would like to highlight is in the radiant tube section. I would like to highlight the latest Advantech recuperative burners that we have developed more than 10 years ago now, which can reach up to 76% efficiency. So I would like to say here that Fives is also supplying combustion system, and we really believe that we can get out of the furnace the best performances if we can combine the good design, the best design of the furnace, as well as the combustion system. So we are not outsourcing the burners out of the company. We supply from our own design, which allows us to drive innovation programs as we did for this, for instance, equipment. We have also very low NOx emissions, 50 ppm. We have developed flue flexibility, so we have experience with different kind of fuels, natural gas or site-generated gases like COG or mixed gas. And in this section, in the RTF, in case we have a full RTF furnace, we have developed a specific technology to have a pre-oxidation chamber implemented in order to have the right selective oxidation process control within the furnace. The last point is that we use a digital control, modulated on-off control of the burners in this section, which allows to get the best performance of the burner all the time. So it means the performance that I'm showing here to you, which is the efficiency and the NOx emission, is not dependent on the throughput of the line. It's always stable. The next breakthrough technology I would like to show you here is about induction. You know that induction heating is a very good let's say, way to heat the strip in a very short length. And there are already some applications of using conventional longitudinal flux induction technology within the furnace. As you can see on the bottom of this slide, the thermal cycles, we are showing 3 typical thermal cycles for different grades. And you can see this very typical. It's, let's say, conventional grades. And then we have DP grades, and then we have Gen 3 grades like QNP. And you can see here that the thermal cycles are not the same, and we have to cope with all these process requirements. And the yellow or green boxes that you can see are different areas where we can use conventional induction section, and we have largely used in the latest references to be able to control the thermal cycles. However, there are now new areas where it's very good to use an induction section, which is at high temperature, especially for Gen 3 advanced high strength steels. As you can see, for the Gen 3 advanced high strength steel, we need to have thermal cycles or annealing temperatures going up to 950 degrees, which is very high. And it will be very difficult to get to these temperatures with radiant tubes. Or you would have a lot of issues with lifetime and let's say the life duration of the tubes. So the induction heating here is a very good way to get to these temperatures with the required flexibility, because actually the induction has no inertia, no thermal inertia. But to do that, we cannot do it with a longitudinal flux induction, because above Curie point, the efficiency is getting very quickly low. And here, this is where we can use this transverse flux induction technology, which has been developed by Celes, which is a company within FIV Celes. Which about 15 years ago developed this technology for stainless steel lines, because basically this technology can heat any kind of material, magnetic or non-magnetic, and can get to very high temperatures. As you can see, the limit is far above what is required today, 1200. Heating rate is very important as well. And with this, we can efficiently heat at high heating efficiency any grade, including high retained austenite Gen 3 advanced high strength steels. Another type of application for this transverse flux is for galvannealing. And we have supplied recently also transverse flux galvannealing inductors to Japan, to major Japanese makers, because they had the same issues with high retained austenite advanced high strength steel to be able to be galvannealed. I have no time to expand more about that, but this is really a very breakthrough technology that has been installed on the latest Gen 3 advanced high strength steel lines. Let me go through the rapid cooling technologies, which is a major process section inside the furnace, which has an impact on the also to the composition of the steel, because the higher the rapid cooling is, the leaner could be the steel in terms of chemistry. So this technology, this process actually has an impact over the whole process chain of production of the steel. The first range of rapid cooling, what we call flash cooling, is a dry flash cooling, which is using hydrogen and nitrogen, and which is applied in CGL and CALs. Today we have developed, I mean, not today, since 99, we have developed the potential of hydrogen to enhance the capabilities of cooling of these sections. And we have more than 25 references operating today with flash cooling with hydrogen above 30%. Some of the latest are, the 3 latest POSCO lines in Gwangyang in South Korea are all equipped with 75% hydrogen flash cooling from FIVs. So we can reach cooling rates up to 200 degrees C per second for 1 millimeter thick products, and with a very uniform and symmetrical cooling of the blowing, so that we can avoid any cool buckle risk and surface defect. The next range of cooling is a wet flash cooling, which actually we are talking about a quenching of the strip by blowing water mist or a mixture of nitrogen and water into the strip. And this technology is available for CAL operation. because you get a slight oxide layer onto the surface of the strip, and then you cannot coat it. So for CAL operation, we can have this kind of technology, and this is bringing a lot of advantage and benefits in terms of flexibility of operation and ability to control all process parameters, including the strip temperature and uniformity of cooling across the strip widths. So this technology has really replaced favorably the quench tank technology, where we had a rough dipping of strip inside the water quench without any control. We have installed this in POSCO in 2009, and we recently commissioned one new line in Baosteel in China, which is equipped with this technology. And the latest technology, not the last, but the latest technologies that we have developed, which is really a revolutionary quenching technology, which is based on the same wet flash cooling technology that I explained before, but using, instead of water, I mean, it is using water with some additives, which avoid the strip to be oxidized. So by developing this technology, we have been able to bring strip quenching technologies up to 1,200 degrees per second into CGL, hot dip galvanizing line, without inline pickling necessary to be installed. So this technology has been installed recently, is operating since last year in a new CGL in US, which is dedicated for Gen 3 advanced high strength steel. And it has shown and proven its effectiveness in terms of controllability, performance, and non-oxidizing behavior of the strip. That has a major effect on also on the way the steelmakers can view their operation, because they can go through CGL, these kind of products, instead of bringing them in a CAL operation and then coated them in a separate line afterwards. So you can imagine how it can reduce the conversion cost and the OPEX of operation while producing Gen 3 advanced high strength steels. Let me give you some words about the smart digital solutions that we propose. I think I'm a little bit short in time. I will go fast on that. The IRON system, which is a plant quality management system in real time. We have installed this recently in Severstal, a plant in Russia, in a full plant, 20 million tons per year capacity, and it's operating very satisfactory. The smart line, I have a slide to show you what is this. The Virtuo is the level 2 system for reheat furnaces and process lines, and also using real-time modeling and scheduling of the process. We have an OptiLine, which is a strip line optimizer, which can simulate the complete running of the strip inside the galvanizing or annealing line. And that allows to have a very optimized tension control and strip speed control inside the line. Virtuo OptiScale is dedicated to reheat furnaces, but can reduce the oxide scale within the reheat furnace. And smart monitoring are all applications that we have for real-time monitoring and supervision of the installations. But let me finish with one slide about SmartLine, because that's the latest digital system that we have to control the complete line operation and in real time optimize the process speed and temperature cycles by using metallurgical models. So here, the target is no more to control the process parameters of and thermal cycles, but is to control the quality of the strip, the end quality of the strip and mechanical characteristics. So this system is including accurate metallurgical models, which are very close to the actual lab results. It allows to increase the speed and maximize the line speed while respecting all quality constraints. Of course, at the same time, the target is to reduce the energy uses and also to reduce the emissions, and ultimately to have an improvement in quality yield. This system has been implemented in Marcegaglia CGL in Italy. We are now implementing in 3 other lines in the same plant. And we have been, the market has recognized this system last year, Fastmark, we got the Global Award for Steel Excellence by Fastmarket as the information technology provider of the year, along with Marsegalia for this system. And more recently, we have been selected by Solar Impulse, which is an initiative which, as a part of the most efficient solution, 1,000 most efficient solutions in the world. So I will be pleased to give you out of this seminar any additional information you need for this. And with this, I would like to thank you for your attention, and I will be pleased to support any question or any further inquiries about that.
Thank you, Stefan. Thank you so much. And I'm sure in future, we'll have more from you. We'll hear more from you. And I was, really happy to see that you were talking about hydrogen when the world did not. You were talking about hydrogen dry flash cooling years ago. You said 1999?
Yes, the first installation was in British Steel at that time in UK. It was a continuous annealing line, and we used flash cooling with 50% hydrogen at that time. And since then, it has been widely used in different installations. I would like to, about hydrogen, Mr. Mukherjee, you mentioned, I didn't mention that we are also developing combustion system with full hydrogen. So that's also a trend. That's also a trend, and we have already experience with coke oven gas, which has up to 60% hydrogen. So today we are developing this. I think we'll be ready by the end of this year with full hydrogen combustion for customers who are interested in.
So you're going to use the COG for combustion? I mean,
we already use since years COG for combustion. But full 100% hydrogen is a new requirement from some steel makers in Europe. So we are developing this.
And the hydrogen will be procured, or you intend to?
The customers who want to use hydrogen, they are talking about green hydrogen. So they are they are also developing ways to produce green hydrogen. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we have our next webinar, which is on hydrogen based steel plants, and SSAB is the first steel plant which is already on stream. So similarly, a lot of work is being done by most of the players in this field. So I would like to invite you to be a speaker for that webinar as well. I'll send you the details soon.
With pleasure.
And with that, thank you once again. And if there is any question, Ankit, any question for Stefan?
Yeah, just one question. Just one question. Yeah, just one question. Thanks, Stefan. Very nice presentation. I've already sent you my email ID on the chat box. So can you share this presentation with me? I will not take much time now, but later on, if I have some questions, I can contact you. If you feel okay.
Okay. Yeah. No problem.
This is a transparent company. They don't hide anything.
Okay. Good.
And we develop continuously, so each time we have new things to explain.
Yes, good, very good.
Okay, thank you very much again for your time, everyone, and thank you very much.
Did you say there is a question?
Yeah, it was from Mr. Prakash. Yes.
Okay, right. So it's taken care of. So with that, Messi, thank you so much, Stefan. And how do you say goodbye in French? Au revoir?
Au revoir. Yeah, you know well.
Yeah, just a few words. I know I can speak a German a few more words because my son is there for quite some time now. And, the big players are in the SMS is in Germany, and, Primetals primarily is also originally an Austrian company. Now it's, of course, you can call it Japanese. So in France, I would say the major equipment manufacturers did not grow as much as they should have. I mean, of course, I have a few of my close associates, like a company which makes films called Novacell from France. So I think FIPS is one of the companies which had put in a lot of initiatives in India initially. And my first interview I did with Frank Thois, I remember, was in 2008. That was the first interview I did with the FIPS. So it's almost like 14 years. And FIPS was active in India at that time as well.
But the history, Mr. Mukherjee, the history of FIV in India is back to where I was not yet born, because I think the first references that we have in India is in the 50s, 1950s. Yeah.
Great. And, I'm happy that now at least this, after such a long gap, FIVs is getting orders. Unless you get orders, you lose interest over a period of time. So you start getting orders, and I pray to the Almighty that FIVs should be flooded with orders. And, because a lot of orders are coming up, and with the downstream line, I would say, has a lot to get, because value addition is what is being talked about today. Our Honorable Prime Minister, he has announced this, incentive scheme primarily for the value-added products. So that is why we see a lot being invested in downstream facilities, so that instead of selling HR to China, you sell the finished product like galvanized or a coated material, which adds more value to it. So there is something called PLI, Performance Linked Production Linked Incentive, or Performance Linked Incentive. The PLI, which has started by the government of India recently, gives incentives to those companies who value add. So that goes to prove that we need more of downstream facilities here. So with that, once again, thank you everyone. Thank you Chetanji. Thank you Mr. Navneet Singh. Thank you Bhavesh. Thank you Mr. Lala. Thank you Mr. Lakshman and all those who are listening to us. Ankit, as a final goodbye, adieu to everyone, just propose a vote of thanks as customary.
Yeah. So again, thank you to all the speakers who attended today, and to all the attendees on Zoom as well as on our live stream on YouTube. Thank you all for making the session a vibrant one. My heartfelt gratitude, of course, goes out to our silver sponsors, JSW Coloron Plus, Danieli, Yogiji DG, Maxis Motion, and our steel sponsor ATS, without whom, of course, without our sponsors, the event would not be possible. So thank you all for supporting us. And special thanks to everyone from the Steel and Metallurgy team for making this event possible. With that, I would like to conclude today's meeting. Thank you all very much for joining us today, and hope to see you again in our next webinar.
Ciao, 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 ciao. What a night.
Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.